This episode of Your Morning Drive is brought to you by Fireworks Co-working. They are a creative co-working space located in Marietta, Georgia, focused on supporting the local community and uplifting creative entrepreneurs. If you want to try out this beautiful space, this podcast room is just one of the many available rooms and spaces available for you and your company to work at. If you want to try them, you can. Use code DRIVE at checkout and you'll get a free day pass. So, if you're working from home, if you're working at an office that you don't have to go to, if you're tired of working at your kitchen table where you have to listen to your kids or your spouse or the lawn people in the outside cutting the grass and it's too loud for your Zoom meetings. Well, you don't have to worry about that. You can try out Fireworks Co-working in Marietta, Georgia. It's right down the street from Kennestone Hospital. They are the presenting sponsor of Your Morning Drive. They offer me a beautiful space for me to be able to record my podcast with all of the creators, business owners, and other individuals that I get the pleasure of interviewing, and they can be your home too. So either go to the space, tour the place with the staff, tell them Logan Lewis from Your Morning Drive sent you, or if you're booking online, again, use code DRIVE, DRIVE, for a free day pass to try the space. Your Morning Drive is also present to us by Good Days Canned Cocktails. Good Days are a classic cocktail brand created in a convenient, ready-to-drink canned format for any occasion, whether it's a pool day, a boat day, a beach day, a graduation, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, anything in between. Good Days are there for you. Good Days are ahead when they are in your cooler, your fridge, your anything in between. Good Days has your back. If you want to be one of the first to try their drink, you can do so by visiting drinkgooddays.com/pages/find-us to find a store near you selling their drink. Of course, you must be 21 years of age to consume and purchase. Strongside Fitness is another partner of our podcast today. They've been voted the #1 gym in Cherokee County for 4 consecutive years. Are you tired of feeling sick and tired? Are you ready to take control, lose some weight, and feel like you did 20 years ago? They've got you. At Strongside, their group workout classes, led by certified trainers, create fun and safe workout environments that has helped thousands lose thousands. Strongside puts the community at the center of what they do. Everyone is welcome, everyone is treated equally, and everyone is safe to be there. If you want to get a free 7-day pass, visit their website, www.thestrongside.com. That's www.the-strongside.com, and start your fitness journey today. Strongside, we make people better. Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Your Morning Drive. I am Logan. I am your host with the most today. We're live from the Fireworks Studio in Marietta, Georgia. Before we get into our show today, if you enjoy what we're doing here, please do me a favor and send it to one friend, one coworker, a family member, your sibling, your ex-girlfriend, somebody in your life that needs this show to start their day. If you want to send them a link, you can send them 3 different links. You can send them one to Spotify, you can send them one to Apple Podcasts, and then you can send them one to YouTube if they want to watch in full on video as well. If you want to do more than just listening or watching, you can follow along on the social medias. Facebook and Instagram are the main ones. Trying to figure out TikTok still. Feels like I never can figure out TikTok. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram for sure are the best ones, especially Instagram. That's the one I'm probably the most active on. That's the one that my screen time tells me I spend way too much time on. So follow along on those platforms. Everything is just at Your Morning Drive. My guest today is a native Texan, and has defied the odds to become a successful entrepreneur. Her journey took her from the depths of addiction to the heights of business leadership. As a recovering addict, she draws strength from her past struggles, channeling that resilience into her cleaning company. She is not just a CEO, she's also a devoted mom of 3, juggling family life with her professional endeavors. But what truly sets her apart is her role as the creator of a culture company more than anything. Through her business, she fosters an environment of growth, empowerment, and positivity, paying it forward to other women entrepreneurs. Please welcome my new friend, Liz.
I did not come up with that intro. He did it all himself. So that was impressive.
Really?
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Makes me feel great.
Well, if, transparency is all I try to do. So, I definitely took that paragraph that you did give me, all those facts that you did give me, and I asked ChatGPT to write me I asked ChatGPT to write me a summarized version of it.
Yeah, they killed it.
And they did, thank you, AI.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, I typically just like to go by Liz, and everyone gets to do like the just day to day what they see me do. But yeah, there's a lot of depth to how I got here, and yeah, that's a win. I feel great already.
You should. Look at that. Like I didn't. It's almost as if, like I said, like I want you to hype up this person, but I just said write me a bio with these facts.
Yeah. Shit.
So
I wonder what it would have said if you said hype me up.
Yeah. Now I'm curious.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyway.
So thank you for doing this with me. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you dealing with my persistence.
No, I love that. I love that you were like on it. I saw you on Cherokee Connect, really trying to get like, business owners or just anyone in the community to come on and, share their story. And I am all about supporting the community. So I'm also crazy busy. So if you need something from me, a lot of people have to like knock on the door a few times to be like, listen, are you here? Yeah. So
that's okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I see there's some people that, I don't want to discredit some guests more than others, but there's some people that I see and I'm like, that person would be awesome.
Yeah.
And just like following you on Facebook and Instagram and like your company's pages as well. I'm like, oh, this chick would be awesome.
Oh, I just
should
like
be a
to
ton
talk
of fun.
shit. Yeah, you're like, share this with your exes. Share this with your exes and then send us the screenshots of how that conversation unfolds.
Yeah.
Because, I'm
I
all
like
about
that.
Stirring the pot.
I like that. Send this very link. Not any other episode, just this one. Send it to your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend and then just no context. Just send it to them out of nowhere.
We'll see what they say.
And we'll see what they say.
Yeah.
Screenshot us and tag both of us.
Follow up.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay,
I like that.
cool.
So in that bio that I just read off, there's a lot in there.
Yeah,
there's a lot going on.
Like
First of all,
32 years of stuff.
You're 32 years
I'm
old?
32.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Oh, God. Don't say that.
No, I mean, I thought you were like 26.
No. I had my first kid at 26.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I'm 32. I'm walking into my 30s and way better than my 20s.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course there's a lot of stuff there. You don't just get here by, doing nothing. I mean, some people might, but not me.
So you're from Texas.
I am. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. Small town north of the city. It's called Coppell.
Okay.
And that was, when my life really started, was moving to Dallas after I was adopted, really becoming a part of like a community. And that was, I think I spent 7 years there. And that was the longest I've ever spent anywhere. Because, before that I was hopping around a lot. But yeah, before that I was in Houston, and Texas is home. I have it tattooed on my body.
Do you?
So yeah.
Yeah, there it is. It's literally the state of Texas is on her wrist.
So I don't forget where I'm from. You know?
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what got you from Texas to Georgia?
Yeah, I took my sommelier exam. So for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it's like a certificate to be a full-blown alcoholic.
Okay.
I'm joking. It really is about,
I'm gullible. I was like, really? No. They have those?
It's a specialization in wine, and you learn about coffee and tea and all those things. But yeah, I came out here for my exam in January of 2017. And when I passed and, got my certification, I went home and packed up my car in 2 weeks and said, fuck it, I'm moving.
Wow.
And I left everything behind and I wanted a clean slate. And so I was 25, brand new state, brand new me. Yeah. And jumped into my career out here.
So what was the first move when you got here?
A job. like getting a roof over my head. I
Yeah.
have a brother who played for the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra
Okay.
here. So I had one person that I knew was here, and
Yep.
that was like a good foundation for me.
Sure.
I wasn't going to be alone.
Someone you could lean on.
Yeah. So I got to live in his basement for 30 days, and he's like, listen, I just had a baby. Like, you got 30 days.
Yeah,
And I was
sure.
like, big bet.
Yeah.
Like, I got it. So I ended up getting a job, and I found, super crazy, but like I got on Facebook looking for like a roommate where I could move in. And so I found this girl, and she had an open room in Buckhead. So I just like, it was fully furnished. It was everything that I needed. And I moved in there for a few months and just kind of like hit the ground running.
Really?
Yeah.
So from the get-go what was this job that you got? Was it just like a part-time?
So I came from restaurants.
Okay.
So I have a degree in restaurant catering management.
Okay.
I went to culinary school.
Okay.
I also went to the University of Alabama for marketing. But when I got out of school there, I like went back to Dallas, and I was like, what the hell do I want to do with marketing? Like, what does that even look like for me? So I just started bartending because I needed to pay the bills and make some money.
Sure.
And then, I fell into fine dining, and that's whenever I kind of like fell into the sommelier world. And yeah, so when I had gotten to Atlanta, I had already had past experience of working in fine dining. So
Okay.
I got a beverage director position out here buying, they call them buyers. You just go through restaurants and you pick what alcohols and spirits that they want to have. You build their menus, and yeah. So that was my thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So then where did either the seed get planted or the switch in your head that said, I'm going to A, work for myself, and then, or B, do the line of work that you're doing?
Yeah, no, it was one of those like pressure makes diamonds kind of things.
Yeah.
It was not like we started during COVID. So, I mean, my LLC was formed in May of 2021, which was like 2 years, maybe a year and a half into COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it just kind of started because restaurants tanked. I don't know if you ate at a restaurant during COVID.
Not often.
No, but like people are like sitting with masks on, and if you're like trying to talk to a table and you like they can't hear you, you're pulling down masks. People don't want to come to work. People don't want to go out to eat. I mean, it was a struggle for all types of businesses, but restaurants, they definitely took a blow. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was like, okay, shit, what do? I got to make some extra money. I guess I'll start cleaning houses. Yeah. Oh, and then I got into nursing school because I was like, yeah, I might as well get another degree. People need nurses.
They did.
And I needed to get through clinicals. And so like I said, I started cleaning houses.
Wow.
Yeah. Blew up. Like mind-blowingly blew up. I had no idea what I was doing.
Blew up in terms of like the popularity
like I dropped out
of you
school,
cleaning houses.
Yeah. And
was it, I mean,
got busy.
And this might even just turn into a pitch, but like what set you apart at that time? Was it just you? It was just you.
It was just me.
So like what about it was blowing up? Was it just
I think it was probably people saw the lengths that I would go to ensure that their expectations were met, because I came from like pinnacle dining, not from like TGI Fridays,
not Chili's,
or Outback. Yeah, I
no
came from
Chili's.
like no, of course. Skillet queso
Chili's.
is life.
Love Chili's. I worked at Chili's for 2 years, so I love Chili's.
Well, I mean, you work in fine dining, you go home, you eat a bowl of cereal,
for sure,
pushing out 20-course meals. But anyway, so it was like pinnacle dining. It was like, you were the best version of yourself, and even if you weren't, you pretended. And you were just always about service. And so I carried that into how I cared for our clients now. And I guess they saw it. I'm also very transparent and upfront. And when you're in people's homes, they want to be able to trust you.
Sure.
And there was nothing that I was, that I held back from. I got down and dirty on a personal level with them and let them know, like, hey, I've got a daughter. We're struggling. Like, I'm just here to work. Like, whatever you need done, like, I'm willing to do it. And so I guess people saw that for what it was, and we got busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show that what you just said just reminded me of? Have you seen that Netflix show Maid?
So there was a big hype around it. I have to be super careful about what I feed myself.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of triggering for me. Yeah. So I didn't watch it. I think I watched like the first episode about it.
And the first episode is hard.
Yeah. And that's like exactly what I came from. So I wasn't really like keen on like
reinventing that. Yeah. Rewatching your autobiography.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I know what it is, but I know I'm
Yeah.
also not the only person who's done this and who's been here. And so I don't like to focus on the badness of it all. I prefer to use it as like a motivational tool. And
Yeah.
I'm really big on what you feed yourself. And I was not about to keep feeding myself the same shit that I lived my whole life.
Yeah.
But I know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah. Just you saying like, hey, we're struggling. I've got a daughter. We're just trying to make things work. Just reminds me so much of that woman's journey in that show, that she's like, she's just trying to provide for herself and her kid. And she is getting down to the dirty and doing absolutely everything. Just the little details that you and I, but I wouldn't go to look for. And they'd say, oh yeah. And I just, by the way, I scrubbed to the bottom of the things, and I'd be like, oh shoot.
That's the average, like that's how the average person thinks about cleaning. They're like, I come in and they're like, oh, a lot of them are embarrassed or ashamed. And so that's the first thing I nip in the butt. Like I grew up in a house that was like covered in dog feces. So if you think that I care that you haven't dusted your baseboards or that you don't know how to wash your blinds, like let me be the first person to tell you, like, that is the least of my concerns.
Yeah.
Like there are things
you've seen
that make
far worse.
So much worse. And there are things that make my clients special, but it's not the way your house is. If it's dirty, like I promise I've seen worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you find that a lot of your for your business, is there a lot of routine cleanings that you do for people like on a weekly or a monthly basis? But then is there also just people that are like, listen, my house is a shithole and I need it to not be a shithole anymore?
Yeah. So what we had said earlier before we had started, the niches are in the riches.
Yeah.
Right? Or I'm sorry, the riches are in the niches.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the thing for us, is like, everyone who can afford it can do like this routine maintenance thing. And, we'll stay on top of polishing your stainless or dusting your blinds. But really like where our heart lives are people who are overwhelmed, overworked, and undersupported.
Yeah.
And that usually manifests in your home. You're like, if your brain is reeling all the time, like, and you get home and the kids have torn up your shit and you're just, inundated with all the menial day-to-day stuff, like the last thing you can think about is, okay, how do I organize this? Or like, where do I begin? And so when I had gotten like my first couple clients where you walk in and the average bear would go, oh shit. Like I was like, oh yes, like I am with this. And I got excited about it.
Yeah.
And like through my excitement, they got excited. And so it kind of like got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
And so that's where like our bread and butter is. We do maintenance all day, every day. We probably do 12 to 15 maintenance jobs a day. But, at least once or twice a week, we're really doing those big resource guarding, hoarding, organizing, total home reset jobs.
Wow. I know somebody that needs you.
Yeah.
It's somebody that's never going to call you, but I know someone that needs you.
Yeah. That's the standard, is a lot of people, when they're in that place, they don't want to ask for help.
Yeah.
But just knowing that it exists, and, me doing things like this on podcasts or, whatever I can to get out in front of people and just
networking events, stuff like that.
Yeah. There are people here for you. It's just knowing the right person. I think what kills it too is like, you'll call like the Molly maids or the, big corporate cleaners, and they'll come into your home and they'll look at you and they'll be like, we can't do this. And so there goes another level of shame.
Yeah.
And so it's just like companies like that, if I had networked with them, and which I do now, but in the beginning, they wouldn't, go in just to take off another layer of skin and be like, oh, this is gross, we can't help you. They could be like, you know what, this is better suited for the Meticulous Maid, because this is kind of like where their heart lives. So yeah.
I feel like that's a next level, like you said, level of shame. If like a big corporation that does this every day, all day, 365 tells you, oh, we can't help you. Like, feel like,
and they don't even say it like that.
How defeating.
Yeah.
As to the person that's asking for help.
That part, when you finally get the nerve to be like, listen, I can't do this. Like, it'd be like going to a therapist and then being like, sorry, we can't help you.
You got too much trauma. Yeah.
Like, how dare you?
Yeah. like, fuck.
Yeah. And I mean, and then you have like, so outside of the larger corporations, you've got like the solo cleaners who are like how I started. They're like, I'm just here to make money and, clean, or I worked for another company and I don't like their rules, so I'm starting my own. And they never take into consideration, like, there's so much feeling behind letting someone into the most intimate space that you own,
Yeah.
So we're here to save the day.
It's deeply personal to invite someone into your home, and especially when you're in a place of like, there's no turning back. But like, even just if I was like, hey, I need you to do like a maintenance, a cleaning every other month or something.
Sure.
There's still something deeply personal about like you are about to come into my everything right now. So, I mean, the fact that was it ever daunting at first? Were you ever just like, oh my God, I'm actually walking up in people's shit right now?
Yeah.
Or were you just like, this is just what I'm going to do?
Honestly, it would depend on the client. Like I'm like a sponge, so like whatever, right. It used to be super bad. Over the years, it's gotten better. But like, if I could feel their anxiety, like I was automatically anxious. And so like, or if I could feel their distrust. Then I automatically felt like, okay, better not open that drawer, better not do this, better like say hi to the camera, and over time, you just get over it. You build a reputation, and I know who I am. I have integrity. I'm going to do the right thing when no one's looking. But yeah, like getting into people's closets and like under their beds and finding their sex toys and their whips in the bath, like just wild shit. But I mean, like we're all human. Yeah. In the beginning, I was like, damn, like, is this what I want to do? But it's the aftermath of it all. It's the messages you get where it's like, I have some peace. Like I can actually sleep through the night. Or like, when their kids come home from the NICU and they're like, oh my gosh, like it's disinfected and like, I know they're safe. Or when we find they've been missing heirlooms or something and their home is so torn apart that they just can't find the things that are so important to them. But you find them. And we find them. Yeah. I mean, those big wins over the course of the last 3.5 years have like far defeated any of the like random, like, we got fired once because one of my staff members walked into a home eating Doritos. Now I would look at that person and be like, hey, get fucked. But like
one of your staff members
was eating a bag of Doritos and they were like, can you please leave? And I'm like, listen, we're here to make I expect them to meet basic needs. If they need water, they're going to drink water. If they have to pee, they're going to pee. If they need to eat, they're going to eat. I don't care what they eat. Why do you care? If they're eating Doritos, are you going to kick them out if they're eating like Trader Joe's organic veggie straws? Yeah. Like, what do you? So I mean, we come across those stupid like
one-offs because I can't imagine frequently
now because our staff's gotten so large. Yeah. In the beginning, it was like every blue moon, like something crazy would pop off, and we'd be like, really? But yeah, no. As the team has gotten larger, and we take on more accounts that are in different demographics or may have different needs, because I didn't name it Liz's cleaning service. Yeah. I named it the Meticulous Maid. So with that comes this expectation that like Pinnacle Restaurants, Pinnacle Cleaning Service. Right. But at the same time, like I'm not going to tell my staff they can't eat Doritos. It's not like, they were like taking Doritos.
It's not like they were smoking cigarettes in your house or something. It's not like they were just like walking in.
Or like, what's up, big dog? Fuck you. You know, like it was literally.
It's like, my person was halfway through their day eating a bag of Doritos. I mean, there's a piece of me that would think like, maybe when you're walking in for the first time, maybe don't meet them saying like, oh,
oh, and it wasn't even,
here,
of course.
Nice to, one of those, that's immediately what popped into my head. But I mean,
not even like that at all. Like, he was in the basement, he was retired to the basement, and they were like, when it was their first time in the house. We had cleaned the house over the year, but it was that group's first time. And they were walking around, just checking out, like, where do we start? Because we have a process.
Yeah, I can picture it now.
And so he's like walking around, eating his Doritos, just making sure that like.
Just surveying the area.
Perfect word. He was surveying.
And then someone's just like, what the fuck are you doing?
No, I got a voicemail. I was in Panama City on my first vacation ever since starting the business. And the lead on the job was like, hey, he just asked us to leave. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, the first thing he said was that we were eating Doritos and we just didn't seem like we were professional. And I was like, okay, listen, like if I don't care. Like if you think that's where the weight of my worries should live is like in what snack they're eating, or if they're eating like just to make sure they have a little bit of energy before they start scrubbing shit out of your toilet. I am not the one. Like there are other cleaning services who are going to tolerate that level of just like picking and small shit. It's not mine. Yeah. I have a low tolerance for bullshit. But if someone is there scrubbing mold out of your shower, shit out of your toilet, cleaning up pee from your son's floor, and you're on them about Doritos, this is not a match. Yeah. Like
I like that.
It's not. And no hard feelings towards you. Yeah. But certain, like if you think I'm going to lose sleep over that tonight. Like,
buddy, if they make a mess with their Doritos, guess what?
They're going to clean it up. My See, you get it.
Buddy, I mean, I can't even, I mean, the gall, I mean, yeah. The analogy that I just described of like if somebody walked, if I answered my door
Oh my gosh,
and someone's
tried to touch
yeah
you
with cheesy fingers,
Yeah.
yeah, I might think like a certain type of way, but then also I know myself and I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, like, oh, they're probably on the way here from
second
a job.
house of the day, just
Yes.
got their ass kicked.
Right.
It's hot as Hades. You know, it's
Right.
summertime.
They're on their or they're eating their lunch between houses and they're driving with one hand, eating with the other.
Now,
It's like
now, you know, in our staff meeting the next week, did I go over, you know, maybe like if you're going to eat in your car, of course,
Sure.
like we're going to make adjustments, especially whenever it comes to like how people perceive us and the way that we represent the company. But like, if you think that I'm going to sit on the phone with you and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Your service is free. Like, we will never send them back to your home. And then I'm going to turn around and reprimand them for meeting their basic needs. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like if someone sent me an email after we finished servicing the house saying, hey, I just wanted to let you know what was going on, I would let them know how grateful I am for their feedback and for letting us finish the service. And hey, we'll clean out your refrigerator next time for free. But like if that's the energy you're going to meet me with is like an angry phone call, like in a voicemail and kicking someone out of your home over something so menial, like, no, I'm not with the shit. I need a shirt that's like, I'm not with the shit.
We should make one.
I say it all the time. Yeah.
I see all these TikTok videos of people like saying like, here's how easy it is to sell like shirts online. And they go into Canva and they just put like a slogan, like I'm not with the shit on it. And then all you have to do is like make a free Etsy account and just like upload it and people will buy it. Yeah. And it just like prints on demand and ships it on demand.
With journals.
Yeah.
And then they sell like 100,000 for $7. They spent $2. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a million ways to make money.
Yeah. But you know what's funny is I always look at those videos. I'm like, that sounds so cool. And then like I get into Etsy, I create the account, and then I'm like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
This is dumb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably not very exciting.
No, very, very much so. No, not at all.
That's kind of like the entrepreneur's like downfall.
Yeah.
Like there's always an opportunity.
Oh God, that's my biggest flaw.
Yeah. No, I think it's all of us. Like
I just like look at something and I'm like, I'm almost like Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob, like dollar signs. I'm like, oh my God, we can make money off of this. But
yeah, but where's I feel like I do well in this and we've made money through this because I find value in the way it makes me feel. Mm-hmm. I'm like, pushing out t-shirts and journals. I mean, good on people that love that, but like my clients aren't going to send me a text and cry and let me know how grateful they are for our service because I made them a
Thank you so much for this journal.
Yeah.
It doesn't at all look like the 15 I could have gone to Target and snagged for $7 or the dollar store. Yeah. I was in the dollar store yesterday and I was walking around and I was like, inflation sucks, but everything in here is $2. Yeah, people could shop at the Dollar Tree.
But it's no longer the dollar store. It's the $1.25 store or the $5 spot store.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Well, I mean,
rebrand.
That's exactly.
They should just call it the cheap place or something like,
dirt cheap. Something like that.
That's got legs.
We should probably write a letter.
I would think that.
Like they haven't considered it already.
I would think that lots of people have written letters.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will say it does make a difference when, you see your margins, speaking from like a small business owner.
Yeah, sure.
It's like 25% price increase on absolutely everything. Like that's like a big deal. Mm-hmm. Now it's still $1.25.
But still, I mean, to the people that like that is their spot, that's a huge jump.
Yeah.
Like if Publix said, hey, you know what? Store wide, we're going to make everything $3 more expensive. Everyone's going to be like, what the fuck?
No one would ever go back.
No.
Because it's already stupid expensive.
It is.
But listen,
for no reason.
I was on Instagram and one of my clients, she was at the Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how, she was in the party aisle and she had bent over to get, I don't know, something on the bottom shelf. And some guy was walking past and he like bumped up against her, didn't touch her, but was like this close with his dick to her butt. And I can't make this shit up. I saw it on Instagram, and not only that, but like this client, she's not like me. She's not boisterous. She's not overzealous about anything. She was letting the world know like women need to be loud. So she turns around. She's like, I need you to back up off of me.
Yeah.
Listen, the guy had the nerve to do it again in a different aisle. So she went around to all the women in the store and was like, there's a creep over here in a fishing hat Like, don't get close to him. So she asked the cash register guy, did he buy anything from the party aisle, from any
Probably
of the
not.
aisles I was in?
Probably not.
Nope. I'm like, that's fucking gross. Shop at Target. I don't know.
I forgot how many who I was doing this with, but they were telling me a story about how there's a guy somewhere in like the Kennesaw, Ackworth, Marietta-ish area that will just go to Target like late at night and just like wait for girls that are shopping alone to like walk out to their car and like follow them to their car.
I'm not the one.
That is terrifying.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. And we're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So I think there's like, you get on Cherokee Connect, or you get in the mom groups, and you see these stories about how like this guy was watching me through the store, and then someone approached my child, and then they came up to me out my car. And I think at some point, like, yeah, there's validity in those things. But another one is like, we are in the part of the world where it's like human trafficking is, it's the number one spot for human trafficking. So I think everyone is also hyper vigilant, which, better safe than sorry.
Sure.
So some of those stories I take with a grain of salt, always, be looking. And I've always been into self-defense and stuff, especially with my background. But at the same time, like, you don't want to spread a fire and like this one target, there's this one guy and he's always there. And really, maybe like that was the last place that he hung out with his kids and they passed away or something.
And so he's just like,
the perspective.
He just walks the aisles because it reminds him of his kids.
Who knows,
Yeah.
But just like me putting any weight into that possibility, like the possibility that someone's just like set out to harm you every single day and like no one's doing anything about it is also kind of wild.
Yeah. I do think that there's a lot of people, and this is something I've been passionate about lately. There's people in my life. I'm not going to name who they are.
Name them.
I
Say
can't.
it.
I can't. It'll fuck some things.
Yeah.
But they're just always of the mentality that like the world is just out to get them.
Yeah.
And it's so fucking exhausting.
There's like it's like Arkham's razors. I might be wrong. I'm not even going to name it, but basically like don't attribute to malice what you can attribute to ignorance. Like a lot of people are going to immediately go for, they did that intentionally and they did it with the intention to hurt me.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is most of the time they're just in their own world, in their own view, their own person doing things without thinking about how it affects other people.
Yeah.
So I usually like try and,
try to give some people the benefit of the doubt. Like, I doubt that person said that intentionally to hurt my feelings.
Right.
Like they just said it.
But
because
without
that's
forethought.
Right.
That's ignorant.
Yeah.
It's not malintended.
No.
But I mean, that's where most people go. We have a very sensitive, generation,
we do.
World. It's not even just the generation. Yeah. It's the world. Everyone's upset about something.
Yeah.
Like if you don't say it the right way, to the right person at the right time,
someone's going to like call the manager or something.
Oh, yeah. Did you hear about the guy that got shot in Alpharetta?
When?
Like 2 days ago.
Maybe.
It was a road rage incident. And, some guy was on, and I wasn't there, but, from what the news is saying, someone was on a motorcycle and someone was in a car. And the guy on the motorcycle was not, being conscious of the ways of the road. And so the guy in the car said something and he got shot. By
the guy in the motorcycle?
Yeah. And I mean, he was caught and he was apprehended and I'm sure he will be in jail for the rest of his life. But, close to my age, mid-30s, and a dad and a husband. And yeah, I mean, the sensitivity of other people is also like causing people to act on how sensitive they're being. And then the other people are additionally sensitive so much to where they're like taking lives. And I mean, I know the news probably spotlights it a little more than back in the day.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just wild. Like if someone's riding a motorcycle, there's one guy in Woodstock. And I see him. He's got to live near me because I see him every day, and he's a jackass.
You live in Woodstock?
Yes.
Okay,
and
cool.
He's wheeling 92 and zipping through cars and shit. Do I think it's annoying? I do. I think it's careless and reckless. Is it going to affect me? No.
Not really. But unless he hits your car, it's not going to affect you.
And even if he hits my car, I drive a CX-9. It's like a tank. So, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem. I wish I could like scream from a mountaintop, like let them, just let them. Like your life is your life.
Yeah.
People's perception of what you say and what you do, it shouldn't matter. Just do it.
Maybe
my next tattoo. We'll see.
You got a lot of tattoos.
I do. I have
Covered.
quite a few. Yeah. I got one big one that run down my leg and
Do you?
yeah, in the beginning I used to pick my tattoos. Now I just call my tattoo guy and I'm like, I want a tattoo for this. And he just designs the whole thing.
That's nice.
Yeah, I don't even see it till it's finished.
That's badass.
Yeah. Well, it comes with trust.
Yeah, that's true. I was gonna say that's a level of trust that I don't know I have.
I would
on
walk
anybody.
into like Joe Schmo's tattoo shop.
You're not just like, hey, I want a tattoo of my life motto.
Yeah, or whatever. Zebra. Who knows? But no, I like the one on my leg. His name is Wilson Cruz, and he's in Marietta. He's over here.
Okay.
Yeah, Ozark. And I had said like I want a tattoo for my son. And I just told him, I said, he's a 10 out of 10. He's a dumpster fire, like on wheels rolling down a hill. That is my 2-year-old. He's just ready to go all the time.
Yeah.
And his name is Blaze. So, can you make me a tattoo for that?
Yeah.
And he like made this beautiful like silhouette of a little boy with like smoke coming around it. And then like a woman, like, over him, almost in like a protection thing, and like flowers and all these things. And he knows like my aesthetic or whatever. And yeah, he fucking killed it.
Yeah,
and
that's badass.
Every time.
I got bit by the bug. I just got my first tattoo like a month ago.
What'd you get?
It's just it's nothing crazy, but it's 5 star. It's right here on my thigh, and it's 5 stars.
Okay.
And each star represents a different person in my family, like my mom, dad, me, brother, and sister.
That's sweet.
And whichever birth order you're in is the star that gets shaded.
Oh, cool.
So I'm the oldest of my siblings, so the 3rd star for me is shaded.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So did all of y'all get it?
So my brother has it and my mom has it. My dad and sister still need to get it.
Oh, but they're on board.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. They never thought I'd get one. My whole life,
Why?
I'm the last of anybody in my family to get a tattoo.
Okay.
Mainly because my whole life I was like terrified of how much it might hurt.
Oh yeah.
But when the gun hit me, and sure, there were moments that it hurt like a lot more than others. But when the gun first hit my leg, I was like, oh. This is great.
Yeah,
this really is. But then there were moments that she would like put a little more pressure or, get closer to the innard of the thigh. And I was like, oh God. But even then it lasts for like 10 seconds and then it goes away because either your leg is numb to it at that point or it just doesn't hurt anymore.
It's like when it starts, it's almost a little more painful than like when you really get into like, because then your adrenaline starts pumping when it starts getting more painful. But I like tattoos because it just goes to show like, the willpower behind it. Like you can talk yourself out of pain, like this. I think this whole piece took like 8 hours. And I mean, by like hour 5, I'm like, like, it's like you really have to channel and breathe through. And like what you're sitting there thinking like, oh my God, I'm going to die. And if you keep going with that, you're going to tap out.
Yeah.
But like, if you adopt the like, this shit is not going to break me.
Yeah.
It's a fucking tiny needle with ink in it.
Yeah.
Like I've been through way worse.
Yeah, for real.
Like,
I've scrubbed shit.
Yeah.
I will be fine.
Exactly.
I will be fine.
Yeah.
It might last a while, but yeah, I mean, as soon as it would start to hurt, you just then have to tackle that mindset of like, okay, it's starting to hurt a little bit. You got to like, you can't just stay as relaxed as you were a minute ago. Just tackle it with a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, but and then grit.
Just get the fuck over it. Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And it only took like 45 minutes. I was like, oh, dude, I am bit by the bug.
This is
I
what
want
happens.
More.
Yeah, exactly. You get one, it's not so bad. And then you just go.
I don't know what the next one will be. I thought about getting the logo of this podcast tattooed on me somewhere, but someone was like, "That's dumb," and I was like, "Yeah." I mean, it might be kind of dumb though. Would it be though? No. Like if I was just like, "Yeah, this is my podcast logo."
Yeah. Well, who gives a fuck? This is the logo that gives me purpose and connects me with people in my community.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
Fuck them.
That's true. I like that. I like that.
Like my next tattoo is going to be a big fat 83. Because my goal is $83,000 a month. Because you know what $83,000 a month equals? $1 million a year.
Okay.
And I'm not doing this shit for anything short of that.
I thought you were going to say my goal is 83 years old. That's what I want to die.
And then that just take me out.
Just after 83 is my magic number. And, I don't want to live a day past 83.
Yeah, no. I hope to live much longer than that and have like great grandbabies.
Yeah,
and all of the thing. Or who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it spirals out so bad I don't even want to make it to 50. But
yeah, maybe.
I would like to.
$83,000 a month.
It equals $1 million a year. Yeah.
I
And
like that.
That's the goal.
How
which
close are
is-
you to that?
We're pretty fucking close.
Are you really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you.
It feels good.
Now, are we talking about the company's income or
Yes.
your income?
No, sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
I mean, I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
Especially in this business, we
Yeah.
walk away with maybe
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah.
And it just depends on what season you're in, what season of volume. In the beginning, it was just me. I think my first year we did like $53,000.
Wow. Good for you.
Which was great, and I had maybe like 2 people help me. But I mean, I was still on food stamps and was still struggling, and I was pregnant. Just keep in mind, the last 3.5 years the business has been alive, I've had 2 boys. It's been a shit show, okay? Just I've been throwing up outside of people's front yards.
Jesus.
Just try and do whatever I can to keep the business alive, get these boys out of my body, and then jump back into work again. But yeah, no, the first year we did like 50 something. The second year we did, I think it was like 175.
Wow.
This last year we did 305 or something like that, lower threes. And then, we're in September now.
What are we on track to do?
Over 600.
Fuck yeah. Good for you, dude. That's awesome.
Excited. Yeah. In
That's
January,
sick.
we did 28,000. And then the last 30 days, we've done 60.
Wow.
So, yeah, which is crazy because, like I said, when I started the business, it was like I was on food stamps.
Yeah.
We were eating from the food pantry, spoiled food. And I mean, I was grateful to have anything
Sure,
to eat.
sure.
But, we were deferring car payments. And thank God my landlord is a saint, because I was just trying to figure out how to stay on top of rent. And like the pressure makes diamonds thing, it was real. I know a lot of cleaning business owners that have a spouse who, have an income. And I didn't have that. It was like a do
Sink
or
or swim.
die.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like a fucking cockroach. Okay. You're not going to kill me. I am not going down. And yeah, it's just proven to be more fun as the team's gotten bigger and I'm not on food stamps anymore.
Yeah, that's pretty badass. Yeah, good for you.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
That's a lot of fun.
I mentioned in the intro that you are the creator, and you mentioned this point specifically. You're the creator of a culture company, not necessarily a cleaning company, but a culture company.
Oh, yeah.
What does that mean to you? Or like what values and principles drive that?
Yeah. We have our core values. And I think the one that speaks to the culture is people before profits. Like there's never been, a moment where I wasn't putting everyone else's intentions in front of like how much money I'm bringing home, especially when the business started. Because, you're cleaning homes and then you realize you need help and then you start hiring people. And the first thing that happens as a business grows, cash flow. It starts getting really restricted. So whether I had it or not, my girls were always getting it. They were always going to get paid before I got paid. On top of like, how many jobs have you had in your history where you walk in and you're like, I don't want to fucking be here. Like, or you sit down with your team and you don't like them. And I don't mean like you don't have anything in common with them.
Like you truly can't stand to be in the room with them.
You don't want to share the air with them because they, may not have the same like fundamental respect for life as you. Like, those self-preservationists are the first people to go on my team, period. I just let go of 2 last week. People who are putting their opinions and serving themselves before they serve the team. And I'm not talking about our clients, but everyone's feelings and best interests, who don't stop running their mouths, who don't step outside of themselves and have like a look down and think, oh man, I can be perceived that way. There are better ways to go about communicating with people. Like that is ultimately where our culture began. Now, I run my team like Nick Saban runs his football team.
Yeah.
Like I don't have part-time players. You see any part-time football players? Absolutely not. If there's a meeting, everyone is there. If you can't be there, you figure out how to get there unless someone's dead or you're like, sick as a dog.
Yeah.
We don't make exceptions because you sacrifice the excellence behind it. And it's never because we don't care, but because, I'm not going to short sell the rest of the team, and I'm not going to short sell our clients, and I'm not going to short sell my kids. So it just always boils down to having accountability, respect, over communicating, and also like showing them I'm willing to double down and I'm willing to give back. And if I fuck up, I'm gonna be the first person to say it. So just like keeping the fundamental like people before profits has really like secured a team. I still have my first employees ever.
Wow, that's amazing. They've stuck by you.
Like tooth and nail. Like even whenever I'm like Zay, our GM, she was my first hire and she's still with me. She's absolutely amazing. Maddie was her best friend since third grade. She's been with me for 2.5 years, and she's our field manager. And so when you have your core group of people like that, and then you hire and they see that, they automatically like see our loyalties to each other, and then we spread those loyalties to them, they return it. So it's just like it's a feelings thing. And I hate to say that because like a lot of business owners are like, there's no place for feelings in business. Well, there's no place for bullshit in business. But you have to consider people's feelings or you will have zero allegiances. And if you don't have loyalties, then you have nothing. If you don't have a culture, you're not going to have people who stick it out through the bad shit. Yeah. It's like any relationship.
Yeah.
It's like why marriages fail. Like where are your loyalties? If you're running around cheating on your spouse, of course they're going to leave you. But if, you make mistakes and you have a season of depression or, maybe just not doing well in life, but you're always there and you always show up and you always give your best, like no one's leaving.
Yeah.
There's grace.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah. It spirals out every once in a while. Don't get me wrong. We're all women.
Yeah.
There's drama every once in a while. We had, a bunch of drama last week. I called a meeting on Wednesday. I said, listen, no one's bound here. Like you guys are subs. You can leave whenever you like. What I will not tolerate is everyone running around expressing that there are issues and then not bringing them to the table.
Yeah.
Like you have to talk about it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna talk about it out there, I want you to be about it right here. Yeah. So everything that I've heard this last week, I want it on the table right now. What's going on? And immediately people are like, oh, this happened and this happened. And I'm so sorry I didn't address that with you. And not to me, but to each other.
Yeah.
Like there was just a mutual respect.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. But it comes with like, you set these boundaries and then boundaries are boundaries. And there are people who are going to be like, your boundaries suck. I don't care. The hard part is enforcing them. So we do that.
Yeah.
It makes for a better business.
What do you think is the toughest part about running this kind of business?
Oh God. I think the toughest part about running business in general is cash flow.
Yeah.
Like we have a CFO for that. I think the toughest part for me as a woman leading younger women or just a group of women is just ensuring that they see I always have their best interest. Not letting, I don't know, the small things get to me because there can be like so many small things in one day where I like literally I sit back and I'm like, okay, I need to regroup. Like this is not the focus that I need. And then I just have to keep pivoting. But if I'm honest, there hasn't been anything that's been so difficult where I'm like, I can't do this. I just keep pivoting. Like, okay, that didn't work. Let's do something else. But I feel like that's the mark of anyone who runs a successful business. Like I said, it's all about what I feed myself.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
that's true.
If I'm feeding myself, this shit sucks. Like,
shit's going to suck.
It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Like, there were a couple of days, especially over the last year or two, where I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, because it was the blind leading a blind. I'd never cleaned a house before in my life.
Yeah.
I YouTubed it.
Yeah. YouTube University.
Yeah. I mean, that's how, like, didn't you were self-taught, right? How did you learn?
YouTube University.
Right.
I just figured it out.
Yeah.
If shit didn't work, I'd scrap it and figure it out again.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it gives you a little more like a leg up when you're always willing to learn.
Yeah.
As opposed to people who are like, no, I know how to do this. I worked at a different company and they showed me how to do it. So I'm going to do it like that. And then when it doesn't work for them, they're like, well, why is it not working?
I'm like, oh, I don't know. It never didn't work.
Yeah. But
then they're useless.
Yeah. You go into it and you've already like committed to investing in yourself and educating yourself.
I used to be that way. Like I used to think, like, especially when I was first starting, like I would teach myself something and I would be like, okay, this is how you do it. There's no other way to do it. But then like in those instances where someone would be like, well, what happened? And I'd be like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I don't know. And over time I have developed into being the kind of person, both with my side passions like this and the marketing business, and then also with like a full-time job, is like when people are like, why can't that happen? I never, ever, ever like to just say, oh, that's just because it is. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that like, if somebody tells me I can't do this for you, I want an X, Y, and Z afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want you to just be like, oh, we can't do it because it is what it is. Like, a doctor is never going to walk into an operating room and be like, we can't save her life. And you'll be like, well, why? And they're not going to be like, we just can't. They're going to give you the reason
evidence,
why they
the
can't
data.
save their life. The
Yeah.
data, the science behind it. I want to know why you can't do it.
Right.
And so I was like, well, if I never want to hear that, I never want to treat someone else like that. So if someone asks me why the audio got compromised, I'm gonna give you an explanation why.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you don't know, you're gonna
Yeah.
figure out why.
Yeah. Be like, I don't know, but I'm gonna ask my buddy who's an audio engineer. Like, if I don't know the answer, I'm gonna find someone that does know the answer.
Do you feel like the average person kind of operates like we operate, or do you feel like the average person is like, I feel like ghosting is like this new term or whatever. Maybe it's not new and I'm just old, but like, I feel like I hear that all the time. Like, I'll get a client and they'll be like, yeah, someone came over, saw my house, they gave me a price, I booked, and then they just like never showed up. Or I reached out because something wasn't done and I just never heard back. Or like, I feel like that's almost the standard, is like, maybe
I hate that mindset, bro. I'm calling them
It's the
until they fucking show up.
yeah. I'm like
Like-
a dog with a bone.
Dude, when we planned our wedding, my DJ, during his like little time to like hype up the crowd and stuff, he was like, also shout out to Logan for being the biggest bridezilla I've ever had to deal with. Because if I didn't get a response on something, like, listen, dude, I'm paying you
Yeah.
thousands of dollars.
Right.
We're paying for all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine would be like, just chill. It'll all work out. I need an answer. I like holding
Sure.
people accountable
Yeah.
myself,
Right.
like, because I hold myself accountable
Sure.
to a certain standard. So if other people aren't meeting that standard, I immediately am like, dude, all the roommates I've had over the years, like before I got into a relationship, when I would have like guy roommates, like my friends, like we'd be going back and forth with the apartment complex. They're like, all right, send us your W-2s, send us, send us this, send us that. And like, if I didn't hear something back within 2 days, I'd be like, just following up.
Yeah.
What's
in the
going
same
on?
way.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
anything new?
There's something to be said about being diligent.
And people are like, no, what? That's so embarrassing. Why are you like that? I'm like, I want an answer. Well, I want an answer.
Yeah.
We put down a $250 security deposit for this apartment. I want to make sure it's going to go through.
Right.
I don't want to make sure they're going to just, you hear of apartment complexes just taking people's deposits
Yeah.
and then never calling them back. Bro, I'll show up.
I'm
Be like-
big on a contingency plan too. Like, I want to know what to expect so that if what I'm expecting doesn't happen, I already have a backup plan. Especially in the case where like someone's putting a fucking roof over my head.
Yeah.
Like, if I gave you the $250 for the application fee and like it's looking like it may not work, like I need to know ASAP because I'm working on plan B already.
Yeah. Let me know what's happening. Just give me an update.
Yeah, I feel like the world is just kind of like, the pressing is like really melting people. Yeah. But there's something to be said about people who are successful and not afraid of confrontation.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be negative all the time.
And sometimes I am afraid of some confrontation. I'd be lying to you if I said that, like, if I have to confront somebody, like I had to give a refund a while ago for something that I fucked up on.
Sure.
And that's not a conversation anyone wants to have.
Nah.
If you fuck up on something, the last thing you want to do is have to call a customer and be like, I'm sorry, we're going to give you half your money back for this. Like, no one wants to have that conversation.
It gets way easier.
Does it?
Oh, God. I used to be like super anxious about it. Now I'm like, keep your money. We'll come back, clean your house again for free and clean your refrigerator. And not only are we going to like double down on it, we're going to make it right and make you forget that ever happened.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, it came from like years of just like constantly making small mistakes. It's not like we ever lit anyone's house on fire, but I mean, I think that's the standard for everyone. It feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then so instead of like leaning into it, they're like, nah, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, just
But
not
again,
gonna
like
do it.
I always, people always just ask me like, what drives you? I'm like, I just treat people the way that I want to be treated. It's
Yeah.
the age old expression. Like that's just what my parents taught me growing up, is like, treat those how you want to be treated. So I just, when I had to give this person their money back, I just confronted them how I would have wanted to be confronted.
Yeah,
So I was just
sure.
like, listen, man, I fucked up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good for
Here's
you.
your money back. And I hope we can work together in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, let me
And
know.
yeah,
Usually if I let a client know like, hey, you know, it usually boils down to just giving someone's money back, but
Yeah.
sometimes they can still harvest that resentment. I'll just say, what do you like? What is your opinion on what we can do to get past this?
yeah.
Like,
Oh, I like that.
yeah, you tell me what the secret sauce is to
Yeah.
making this right,
Right.
and I
Because
will
I
cook
could,
it up.
I could give you the money back. I can get on my knees for you all day and long.
Yeah.
But if that's not good enough for you, then we'll never reach a point
Yeah,
of
exactly.
agreement
And
again.
like, but I want to show you how committed I am to like making
Yeah.
it right.
Yeah.
And I mean, not just professionally, but in every
Yeah.
area of my life. I don't think that's anything that I've ever been able to do successfully, is compartmentalize like my professional life and my personal life. Like it is very much intertwined. Like the major players I have in my professional life are the major players that I have in my personal life. I think, you know, for me, I don't want to divvy that up. Like I prefer to have, you know, the level of carrying all the way around. I don't think it needs to be, you know, everyone's different.
Yeah,
It's more taxing that way.
it is, because I agree. I mix the two a lot,
Mhm.
professional and personal. And you know, there are people like you said that will live and breathe by like, no, work is work, personal is personal. They
Right.
can't intersect.
Yeah.
And
I think
I'm
it's
always just like, what's the big
defense.
deal?
I think it's defense.
Yeah, like what's the big deal?
I can take it. I
Like,
can take it.
There's people that I work with at my full-time job that are like, oh, I can't be friends with any of you guys on Facebook. I'm like, why? What are you posting?
Right.
Like, what do you have to hide?
Right.
People are like, oh, I'm going on private. I'm like, why? What do you have to
Yeah.
hide? I think I don't know. I get like, I could go on a soapbox about that kind of shit, because I've always just been like, why?
Like live out
Who
loud.
cares? Who
Yeah.
cares?
I'm big on the living out loud. Like
Obviously, if there's something questionable that I'm doing on a Friday night, I'm not going to post it to my social media accounts.
Sure.
If I don't want, I know who follows me, so I know what to and what to not put out
Right.
there.
Well, and even if, you know, you post something that they don't agree with,
Yeah.
the general consensus is you can leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, if you don't like it, unfollow me. All you have to
Yeah.
do is click that unfollow button.
And go ahead and dispel all of your hate and angst about me on one of my posts. Go ahead. I don't care. And then unfollow me.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything.
I'll probably just delete your comment and then unfriend you first.
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares?
I had an employee, like I said, that I had to let go of recently. And we had a very close relationship. She was very close with the entire team, but there was some missteps there. So when we let her go, she got on Google.
Left a bad review.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Something about it's a toxic workspace
Ooh.
and blah, blah.
Is it still there?
Oh, yeah. Pull it up. I don't give a shit.
Hell yeah. Let's pull it up.
So she's like talking about how I'm toxic and it's a toxic place. And this is, you know, it had something to do with my sister-in-law, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what I did after that? I sent her pay for the pay period.
Yeah.
I sent her pay for the next pay period, even though it wasn't due to be sent until, you know, next week. And then I sent her extra money for groceries. Because you know what? Like,
kill them with kindness.
Well, I mean, not even that. Like, you know, this bad situation can be bad for you, but like, you're not going to let it be bad for me. Like
your fucking response. Is it your response? Did you respond to this review?
I respond to all of them. To anybody
this is
who
fire.
says anything, I always respond. Yeah, but both of them, because I fired them on the same day, got on Google.
They both did,
and they start including like negative things about, you know, things that don't even pertain, saying that I don't like or that I belittle LGBTQ plus. My GM is LGBTQ. So are like a third of my staff. And like, it's just like the lengths that people will go to take down someone who is successful. It's insane. Like, no, we let you go because you were incapable of keeping your emotions out of leadership decisions. So you're going to get on Google and prove my point.
Right.
Like, if you cannot keep your emotions under wrap, like that automatically becomes a concern to not only me and the well-being of my business, but my clients. Because what if they look at you wrong? What the fuck are you going to do in their house? This is what you do in my house.
Damn, this is lit.
Yeah.
I love your responses.
It's drama.
They're so good.
Thank you.
Because they do scream, I don't give a fuck about anything you're saying.
I don't.
But also, I love the ego comment you made.
Yeah, like
unfortunately,
that's what it is.
your ego. Sorry if we're airing this out. If we need to cut this out later, we can.
No, go ahead.
Unfortunately, your ego and your inability to maintain your diplomacy is why you were let go. You overstepped your role multiple times, and despite leadership's attempt to meet you in the middle, you thought your way was better than ours. Space. This is a democracy. We took a vote. And the vote was that you were not a good fit. Best wishes. That's fire.
I mean it.
Fire.
Like, I want her to be successful, but I also wanted her to learn, you know, when you have your own business, it's one thing. You can run it however you want. But like when I am making decisions that ultimately affect the well-being of the culture.
Yeah.
Like one bad apple spoiling the bunch. And you think that your feelings about it matter more than everybody else on the team, I'm going to be the first person to teach you you're wrong.
Yeah.
So that when you do go out to your next job, you'll maybe have that in the back of your head. Hey, you know what? This is in the best interest of everyone else. And I've done this before, and I don't want to lose this job. So let me fall in line.
And I'll go out on a limb here and say, if you get let go from a company and the first act of business is to jump on the internet and write a bad review about the company that you were employed by, that is white trash.
Yeah,
that is a trashy move.
Trash.
I don't want to say dated. I kind of had a situationship with a girl years ago. And after I ultimately decided that she was kind of a toxic person, I just said, you know what? You know, we've been doing this on and off thing. I don't really care for this.
Good for you.
And I cut it off, and she went online and wrote all these bad reviews about me, wrote the bad reviews on the podcast. Luckily, I submitted it to Apple, and Apple took it down.
Yeah,
and
I
then
got those flagged.
And banned her from ever writing a review for any product ever again on an Apple platform.
How cool is that?
So that's hilarious. So fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
So, but she wrote this review, and people were like, look at this review. I'm like, oh my God, that bitch left a review.
I mean, but that's what people do at the bottom. They will just, instead of working hard, putting their head down, taking the steps as the janitor before you become the CEO, they think that they're going to just bring you down and claw you down. And it's just, you know, what's really sad about this entire thing is that my leadership team, you know, my GM, we have an engagement manager and we have a field manager. They've all been with me for the last couple of years or longer. And they were pissed. They were so pissed off. Like, you know, one of the girls had said, it's like they saw you on a ledge and then pushed you off. Like they knew that, you know, you're up here, and despite everything that you've done for them over the course of, she was with us for like 90 days. So it wasn't even that serious. But I had, you know, I've watched her child for free. I've done all of these things to ensure that she could get to work no matter what. I've advanced her. I've let her cry in my lap. We've made a financial plan so that she could be successful. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, it's like they just kick you off the ledge. They turn around and they go about living their life. But what they didn't realize is when they turn around, I caught the fucking ledge. Yeah. And I'm getting right back up. And that's always going to be the difference between somebody who sees success and somebody who tries to steal it or take down someone who has success. So I'm like a ninja cockroach.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Shirt.
Hell yeah. Ninja cockroach. I bet AI could make that shirt.
Yeah, probably.
Cockroach.
You can tell them to make a whole campaign.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've got a group text with a couple local business owners. One's a power washer, and he eats a banana every single morning. So he sends us a picture of him eating this banana. He says, I like it for the taste, not the shape. Well, I got on ChatGPT and I said, make a campaign for a power washer about bananas. Dude, it spit out this thing about like, every client you have, give them a banana punch card. And so for every time you service their home, you punch a banana, and then they get free this and free that. And like it spit out like banana merch and like linked it to power washing. I'm telling you, ChatGPT is lit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes a business just like A little bit better. I don't know about the banana thing, but
Yeah. I can't eat bananas anymore.
why?
I found out I'm allergic to them. I'm allergic to everything, by the way.
Oh
This
my
is fun.
God.
I don't. Okay, so this is my problem here. Little soapbox. I'm allergic to a lot of things, and it sucks.
Mhm.
But I don't know if I'm allergic really to any of them, except for a few things. I
Okay.
have like the blood drawn tests to tell me
yeah.
that I'm allergic to like tree nuts, like almonds, pecans, stuff like that. Every time I eat a banana for the past like year or two, my mouth swells up and gives me the same reaction I would get if I eat something with a nut in it.
Interesting.
So then
Screams allergies.
A plus B equals C.
Yep.
That
You're
screams
allergic.
out. I'm allergic to it. I'm also allergic to beer. I can't drink beer.
Mm.
The hops in beer.
So you can have ciders.
Not
Maybe
even that. Not even ciders.
There's no hops in ciders. I wonder what you're allergic to about it.
There's no hops in ciders.
Well, I'm sure it depends on whoever makes it, but yeah, there are hop-free ciders.
Hell
They're
yeah.
made from apples.
That's true.
Most of
I can eat apples.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe, well, I would hate to, encourage you to try
Yeah.
a different type
What
of
if I
beer
send
and
you a
then you're
selfie
out?
from the emergency room? That'd be funny.
No, it wouldn't be funny. I'd be like, okay, on my way, like, just to sit there and be miserable with you. Do you carry an EpiPen?
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one in the car.
Man, really?
Yeah.
So have you found as you've gotten older, you've found things that you're more allergic to?
Yeah. Really, I guess I said I was allergic to a lot. That's really, oats. So I can't have,
Allergic to oats.
yeah,
Man.
which is weird because,
Sucks.
yeah, it does. I can't eat a lot of like healthy, I can't have like almond milk because I'm allergic to almonds.
Right.
I can't have oat milk because I'm allergic to oats.
Are you
I can,
allergic to milk?
I can have regular milk.
Okay, well, let's just keep it simple. Come on.
But I also, here's another health problem. I have kidney stones.
Okay.
Not currently, but
Sure.
I've had them in the past and
Sure.
they're calcium based. So I don't need to drink a lot of like dairy heavy milk.
Yeah.
And so if like, I used to be a kid, like in school, I would get home from school and pour myself a glass of milk. I
still
loved
drink
drinking
milk
milk.
like that,
I
yeah.
love milk, but I haven't had a glass of milk in probably 10 years.
Really?
It's depressing.
Oh my gosh.
But every once in a
Can
while,
you eat cheese?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I eat plenty of cheese.
Yeah. Just, as long as
Too
we're not
much
giving
cheese.
up on all of the great things in the
Too much
in life.
cheese.
No.
Too much
it's
cheese.
Not a thing.
No, that's true. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Cheese is
There's no
great.
such thing as too much cheese.
What about cats?
Oh yeah, allergic to cats.
So am I.
Can't have cats. Fuck cats.
Yeah.
I like cats.
I like cats. Yeah,
but
I'm like, not fuck cats, but like their hair getting in my nose is
fuck
not
that.
a good.
Yeah.
What about meds?
Meds?
Yeah, like, a lot of people are allergic to like penicillin.
Oh, not that I know of.
Okay.
Nothing that I know of. I am asthmatic, so I carry around an inhaler everywhere I
I
go.
have one in the car.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, only because like when you really work in like high allergen.
Yeah.
Like there will be times when we're in there and I'm like, I'm not even really asthmatic as much as it is sports induced.
So are you on a day-to-day basis, are you still all up in people's shit? Or is the team now doing that for the most part and you're running the business per se?
Yeah, no, I still go. I can't help it. I'm like a glutton for punishment. I still go out every once in a while. And I don't carry a caddy and I certainly don't, clean an entire home as much as I used to. But when I got pregnant with Blaze, my second, I had gestational diabetes. I was like a walking beluga whale. Like trying to clean a toilet with a stomach.
It's not happening.
It was impossible. And so that's when I started like inching myself out of the field. And then 3 months later, I tripped over their dad again and got pregnant.
Tripped over their dad again.
Yeah. So then it was kind of that same thing where I had to like pull myself out towards the end of the pregnancy. And then at that point, the business had gotten so busy that like someone really had to focus on the networking and the financials and the meetings and all the things and quality control. So no, I'm really not in the field unless I want to be, which, I still like it. I like to touch base with the clients and it's good for my team to see that I'm not afraid of hard work.
That's
especially
good.
the new people. Like the core group, they already know. Like one time we walk into a house where this is a good one. We walked into a house for a realtor. They're, selling the house. It's an older couple. And the house was actually in, decent condition. It could use a little bit of love. But other than that, I was like, this is money. And then he pulled me to the side and he's like, I have a son and he's older and I just wanted to show you his bathroom.
Oh, no.
Me, I'm like, okay, great. And so he walks me over there, and there was diarrhea on the walls, on the doors, on the cabinets, in the sink, in the toilet, in the shower, in the bathtub. And he had horrible incontinence. And you know what? I don't ever want to know too much, because at some point it's like their health is their concern.
Right.
But
there's a level you that like, what the fuck is happening
in my
here?
brain, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what is this person going through to where we let it get this bad?
This is the reality.
And I
for
had
them.
a team with me,
Yeah.
and there's been 2 times where I've been blindsided like that. That was just one of them. And because the rest of the house was
Fine.
good. Yeah. And he just said, he's incontinent, and we don't know what to do. And I was like, okay, well, don't worry about it. Like, we got it. And so
Incontinent, what does that mean?
it means he's incapable of holding his bladder or his bowels.
Understood.
Yeah. So it's a medical
It's a health
condition.
problem. Yeah.
I'm sure it came, from Crohn's or maybe even something worse.
Mhm.
And, ultimately, like, I don't care why. I think even if it wasn't like a gut issue, it's a mental health issue.
Mhm.
Like, to let
Something's
something
going
go
wrong.
so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody wants to live like that. Right. And nobody wants to do that in their parents' home, especially, with the love and respect that this guy, his dad was telling me about the relationship, and he's like tearing up, telling me like, this is what he's going through. And so immediately I don't give a shit why there's poop all over the floor. I don't care. But I did have a team there. And so I took him outside, and, it's like, well, we need to go get some stuff, and I'll be back, and blah, blah, blah. And I got a text message saying like, who's cleaning this bathroom? And I said, I am. Like, I'll be back. I had to go get like antimicrobials and things that would disinfect the area. But just like doing those things and showing them like, I'm not afraid of hard work.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to do something that you're uncomfortable doing.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then showing them that it can be done with a smile on your face and no ill will in your heart means that they're jumping into the next one. And sure enough, something similar had happened a couple of months later, not quite to the extreme. And I said, you guys want me to handle this? And one of the girls that was at that house said, no, I got it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it just, it starts at the top. Lead by example.
And it is inspiring to see your boss, because it is easy to get a job at a company and just assume that the boss is too high and mighty for the grunt work, as they say. But then to just like even for like the CEO of McDonald's to work a shift in the restaurant, like flipping burgers, like it shows a lot to the staff of like, this guy doesn't think he's better than me.
Hell no.
So like this woman is cleaning up this shit covered bathroom because she A, wants to, but B, also just wants to show us that she isn't a stranger to doing this still.
Yeah. And I don't want them to ever feel like I'm going to sign them up for something that I wouldn't sign up myself for.
Yeah.
Right. That's
like if you yourself wouldn't do it, you wouldn't make them do it.
No. I mean, I will say there are a lot of things that I wouldn't not do.
Yeah.
And now if it, when it comes down to like things like bloodborne pathogens, and when we're getting into things that are like governed by like certifications and things that you need, especially when you get into hoarding, and not necessarily hoarding as much as like, remediation, like if there's suicide cleanup and things like that, we're not accredited to do bloodborne pathogens. That's about the only place that I'll draw the line. But anything else, like I'm in it. If you want me to, steam clean vomit out of your mattress, do I think it'll work? No, I'll tell you that. But if you want me to do it just for a short-term solution, I'll do it. And, it's just, I don't know. My mentality is probably a little more like intense than the average bear, but I also think it's something for like our team to aspire to. Like, okay, if I can do that, like I could do anything.
Yeah, right.
And if she can do this, then like, why can't I do it? Like if she can build a business, why couldn't I build a business? I want them to like, go out and be able to provide for their families and stuff.
Sure.
So even if it means like cleaning up diarrhea out of a sink.
In the intro, I talked a little bit about that you are in recovery from being an addict.
Yeah.
Is that something you want to talk about at all?
Sure.
So what was that all about?
Yeah.
You don't have to go into it as much as you don't. I know you said earlier that you don't like to harp on it and relive a bunch of shit. So if you don't want to talk about it, we don't have to.
No, not at all. It doesn't concern me at all. Sometimes I have a hard time saying like, oh, I'm a recovered addict, because there this like very broad scope of what addiction looks like.
Yeah.
I guess how I should start that is, I was adopted whenever I was 9. So my biological mom, I haven't seen her since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
But she was a full-blown opiate addict. And, there were periods of time where I lived with my aunt or I lived with my grandparents. And, when I was around 3 or 4, my biological mom had just gotten out of a mental hospital and she had met a gentleman in the mental hospital. And, they started a relationship. They came to my grandparents' house. They picked me up and they said, my mom, who I hadn't seen in like a year or so, looked at me and she's like, "This is your new dad." And I was like, "Oh, great." And then there was a little boy sitting next to me and she was like, "And that's your new brother." And I was like, "Okay." And I had no idea what was going on. Obviously, I was scared. But, we started this life in Houston and it was not good. There was a lot of trials and tribulations, a lot of safety concerns. And as a mom, like, you think you get over that stuff and then you have your own kids, and only people who have been through childhood trauma will understand this. When you have your own children and then you like get to certain stages of their life with them, you immediately relive everything that you went through at that age as well. And so, it was a lot. She, told us all that she had cancer. And, at that point they had already had another baby. So I have a little brother. I have one blood sibling. He's a half brother. And she said that, she was dying. So we moved from Houston, Texas to Arkansas and, stayed with family up there. And this is in the 90s, okay, the late 90s. So early 2000s, right when the internet was really big. You could like order pills and shit online. Like prescriptions weren't it's also when Oxycontin was released and like people were like peddling it like,
there were lines down the block. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then, from Arkansas, we moved back to Dallas. And my aunt is a nurse and my uncle is a doctor. Well, they brought her into the office and I came home from school one day because they had set me up in school temporarily down there. And they were like, "Yeah, your mom doesn't have cancer and she's gone." Like, because there was so much abuse and trauma and missteps that the best thing that they could have done for me was realize that she was lying about cancer and having all 3 of her children think that she was dying and, removing her, like not allowing her to have more access to me so that she could feed me more lies and whatever. So, that is where I came from. And, I was very lucky to be adopted by a family that, was well off financially, but lacked a lot of emotional capabilities. So when I, was looking down the barrel of going to college, I already kind of partied and everything. I had older siblings. So I knew how to get away with things because of the ways that they didn't get away with it. Like, you don't sneak out of the window, you just walk out the front door. Like, just, So I had learned how to like party and not get caught. And then I had also had a lot of freedom and immediately went to college, 12 hours away from home. And I just started partying. Me and my therapist, we know why I did it now. And that was really because I wanted to know what was so great about drugs that you're going to abandon your kids and your family for it. So that spiraled, that one wisdom tooth removal or whatever, where I was taking Vicodin turned into me going back to college and looking for Oxycontin. And then, leaving college and going into the restaurant industry, everyone's partying. Like, not everyone, but most people are partying. And if they're not partying, they know where to get drugs. And so I was always a productive addict. When I moved to Georgia, I was still using. I had graduated culinary school. I had gotten my sommelier. I had, paid for my own house, paid for my own car. I don't have a relationship with my adoptive family or my biological family. And so I didn't have resources to pull from to say like, "Oh, can you help me with rent?" Or, "Oh, can you help me with this?" I was a self-sufficient, like self-fueling addict that always went to work. And so when I got to Atlanta, it had turned into, taking pills here and there to snorting heroin and taking Adderall to get through my 90-hour work weeks. And I honestly convinced myself that I was a better person whenever I was high because my tolerance for bullshit was higher. Where, like, you know, I could have a guest in front of me being a drunk asshole and minimizing every bit of work I had put into what I thought about this wine, or, you know, how I taught my employees, and just be like, deflect it because I was so high, I didn't give a shit. You know, I didn't have any self-worth. And when I had gotten let go from that job, the career that I had moved states from and left everything in my past from, I was like, oh fuck, like I can't keep doing this. This is when people spiral, losing their job. Like, what am I going to do? I wasn't even worried about like not being able to get drugs as much as I was worried about not being able to keep a roof over my head or like keep the relationships that I had developed. And so, you know, I never went to rehab. I will say I struggled to stay clean just in the sense that like withdrawal is really hard. But I had met my ex maybe like 6 weeks in to my sobriety. And that's honestly what saved me from myself. Like meeting someone who saw the value in me that I didn't see in myself. And I was very lucky as someone who was, you know, over the course of, I probably used for 8 years. Now I've been sober for over 8 years. That like if I had never met someone who saw value in me, I don't know that I would have ever seen it in myself. I'd like to think I could have. And then I got pregnant. And then I really saw value in me because I had a little girl who saw value in me. And then I just kept it going. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, like there's so much clarity in being sober. Like I know how to regulate my emotions. I wasn't just like doing things hastily and getting in bad situations because I was high and I thought it was a good idea. Like now I was like able to rationalize and like bring myself back down to earth and like have conversations with people that were uncomfortable without it triggering some sort of response that was like, I need to numb myself. So I'm a very lucky addict. I am luckily recovered. I put work into it, but I didn't put as much work into it as I've seen people have to, or I've seen people lose the battle to. I think me losing everything when I was younger made it a lot easier for me to recover. And now I don't even fucking think about it.
No.
No, not even a little bit. I will say I was a pill popper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I was like a major pill pop for years. Like I loved pills. But, you know, there was like 9 to 10 months where I couldn't find pills. So I resorted to heroin. And, you know, I was never an IV user or anything. Not that it justifies it. I was still putting the poison in my body.
Yeah.
It still makes you feel the same way.
Yeah.
To where I was like, okay, like when you're shitting and throwing up at the same time because you haven't gotten a fix in a couple days, or not even a couple days, but like maybe 10 to 12 hours, like that's got to stop. Because the last thing I ever wanted to be was like my biological mom. Like, especially I have a daughter and 2 little boys. And when it's fucked up because my biological mom had an older daughter and 2 little boys. So I recreated a life for myself. Obviously, I don't shoot X's and Y's, so I didn't know what sex gendered kids I would have. But it was like God telling me, like, if you continue down this path, you will replicate the life that you worked so hard to run away from. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Thanks for sharing all that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Oof.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just good to. I love it when people are just open to share that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would hope that someone knows that like you can come from like complete dirt and make it out. I think a lot of it was like just the mindset. Like I can do this. It like I keep going back to, it's all about what you feed yourself. Like I would be outside of the restaurant after I got let go and I was like, fuck this shit. I immediately the next day had a new job with a different restaurant group because I was so interconnected. And when I was high, I was chatty Cathy.
Yeah.
So I reached out to a liquor rep. I said, hey, I just got let go. I need a new job. She immediately set me up with another restaurant group. And I remember my first day, I was sitting outside of that restaurant and I pulled up a fucking sermon. I am not that. I am not a practicing religious person. I believe there is something and that's greater than us or whatever. But I was like watching this sermon from this guy on addiction and battling monsters and blah. And like I had to feed myself that, whether I believed in a greater power or not, every single day before I walked into that job. Because like there was no other option. The other option was to go hit up my dealer and lose this job. And then like it keeps spiraling. So I just like, I'm big on the mindset thing.
Yeah.
Some people think it's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, what's the other option? If you don't have a village or like people to draw from from that support, like the only person you can draw from is yourself. Like, of course it's mindset. Like, what was I going to do? Call my mom and be like, I need help. Like, no, I couldn't call my mom. I hadn't talked to her in 20 something years.
You haven't talked to her still?
No.
You have no idea where she's at?
She like pops up every once in a while. Whenever I first moved here, I got some weird Facebook message from a guy. He was like, hey, where have you been? And I was like, who the fuck are you, dude?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you've been talking to me for months through emails. Is Erin your mom? And I was like, she's my biological mom, but I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So long story short, she had convinced some guy that she went to high school with that I was his daughter. And because she was sick or something, and she had made a fake email address and was talking to him for a year.
As you?
As me.
Wow.
And just like gross, cringy shit. Like I could probably pull it up, but it's like, I don't have the greatest relationship with my mom, but I've always wanted a dad, and I just want to let you know I love you. Like just just gross,
very
like,
weird,
like just things that would never happen, unrealistic. And so I told him, I said, I'm so sorry, but like, I don't know you.
Yeah.
I haven't been talking to you. And like, while I've never...
You've been bamboozled.
Yeah. Swindled for sure. Like he was like staying with her at the hospital, and this was like in Utah or something.
What the hell,
I mean, I always think about going to like Dr. Phil's producers and being like, hey, you want to hear a crazy story? And then just dispelling the first 20 years of my life because they're like really absolutely wild. But yeah, she had like... So I think that was the last thing that I had ever heard from her. I had messaged her and I was like, you are just like so sick. Like, I don't know how else to get you to understand. Like, you need to leave me alone. Like, I had a TPO whenever. It wasn't a TPO. It was permanent at some point. But when I was a kid, she wasn't allowed anywhere near me. And when I became an adult, that lifted. And it was almost like, oh, the gates are open. Like, so she'll every once in a while, like, find me on WhatsApp or... Like, and I just delete it and just keep it
move
moving.
on. Yeah.
I mean, I've never met my dad. I know who he is. I've done like the 23andMe to make sure because he's half Japanese, and his mom and dad are his mom is full Japanese. And so when I was told, like when I was very little, that this guy was my dad, I just, I believed it. And I know his sisters and whatever, and never met them in person, but on Facebook, like they send me pictures and they're just very amicable. He's very sick in the head as well. So I've not talked to him. He like lives in a storage unit or something and works on those, that show Deadliest Catch? He does something like that.
Oh, wow.
And so when I had gotten my 23andMe like DNA test, it was like 27% Japanese.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay. So like that part I know is true. Like there's no one else in my life or that has ever been told to me in my life that like you're Asian. There's these people. And then when I look at their kids, like we have the green eyes and the fair skin and the same color hair. And so it's pretty obvious that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. You would never guess I'm Japanese.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But
yeah, it's like Irish, Japanese. And then
cool.
what? My kids, like their dad is half Venezuelan. So they're like Japanese, Venezuelan white kids. They're very pretty.
Very pretty. I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how he's staying blonde. I figured like after we had him, he would be like, I don't know, a little bit darker, but no, he's white blonde.
Wow.
He's the milkman's. That's what we say.
I wanted to ask, I know you kind of brushed over it a little bit earlier, but you brushed over like finding like sex toys and whips and shit. Like what's some of the weirdest, funniest shit you think you've ever found in someone's house?
I think what's so funny about finding those things is that when you meet them, like when you meet a client, when you meet anybody, let's say like the cashier at the grocery store,
Yeah.
you like see them for how
Yeah.
you see them.
Yeah. Face value.
Yeah. And then you go into their home. Like we had one client, and I love this client. He's no longer with us anymore because he moved to another state. But we even took care of his parents, and just overall, like very kind, very helpful, very understanding, just all of the positive things. But when we first got him, you go onto the property and it's like Fort Knox. Okay. Like there's surveillance signs all over the property. It's like you are on camera, like you are being surveyed, like blah, 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 whatever. There's doorbell, you ring the doorbell, you go in. There's cameras in the guest room. There's cameras in the bedroom. There's cameras all over the house. And it's like maybe a 1,500 square foot ranch with like a little basement below. And he always stayed in the basement while we cleaned. Okay. So that being the first thing you walk into, you're like, okay, like you're a single guy, no kids, we've never saw any female products there. Like there was no like girly things in the bathroom or whatever. So that's what we initially saw. We go into the bathroom and there is this massive neon whip. Like, I mean, as tall as I am, like the handle part, it's like a horse whip with like pink and neon green strands through it.
Wow.
And so we're like, okay, well, that's kind of weird. And then there's like this Jason mask on top of the cabinet above the toilet. And so we're like, all right, well, this is weird. And so I just always told the team, because like I said, he was always polite. And I mean, there's cameras everywhere. What is he going to do? Murder us on camera? Yeah. Like, no. So I always send a team. Always. I never let anyone clean solo. Go alone. No. And we won't clean for men solo. We won't. Call it trauma. I don't give a shit. I'm not doing it. Yeah. So over the years, we just kind of, no big deal. Like, we love you. You're the shit. Happy to clean, whatever. He always tipped well.
Have you ever had anybody like make any of the girls uncomfortable? Yeah. Like guys like trying to fulfill one of their fantasies of like the maid coming or the cleaning lady coming over. You know what I'm saying?
I get those messages quite often.
Really?
Yeah. Do you clean nude? Yeah. Like on Facebook for sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a company in Atlanta that does it. It's
what?
$300 an hour. And that was during COVID. So with the economy, it's probably a little more expensive. We don't do that. But
you clean nude? That's
people
disgusting.
Clean nude. There's topless cleaners. It's like you said, it's a
real
thing. Yeah. Listen, the riches are in the niches. That's their niche. But yeah, no, we don't. I was, I'm close with other cleaning business owners. Mm-hmm. There's like a community of us, as silly as it sounds. And someone was telling me that they had their team in a house, and whenever they finished a room, the guy was watching TV on his phone and it was porn. And so they'd finish that room and he'd go watch porn in that room, and they'd finish in that room. So then he'd go watch porn in that room. And so eventually, they leave the house and they call the owner and they're like, hey, this guy was following us around watching porn. And she's like, why didn't you tell me that when it happened the first time? Like, instead of letting him do that to you throughout the entire
watching
home.
Porn.
Yeah. Like, just that's
fucking weird.
Super weird. Like, I mean, I don't really think finding sex toys is weird. We've definitely found some, like, we find weed all the time.
Yeah, sure.
But that's pretty fucking normal.
Yeah, that's fine.
The meth pipes where I'm like, I'm sorry, but we will not service your home, because some of my girls are recovered.
Yeah, sure.
And not that it's going to challenge their recovery as much as it's just disrespectful for me to place them in a vulnerable state where they're like hard drugs around. So as soon as they find something like that, I tell them, snap a picture and walk out. Like, sorry, but we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, if you want someone to clean your house, put your drugs away.
Yeah.
We've cleaned for like a GBI officer and a lot of like the just county police officers, lots of guns.
Yeah, sure.
Which is normal. But at the same time, like in our welcome
put your
letter,
shit away.
Put it away. Like, the last thing I need is someone vacuuming and hitting your fully loaded automatic rifle and blowing their brains out because you didn't think it was important.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think I've ever found anything that was like, oh my God, lots of dildos. That's got to be another way to make money too, right? Like, just imagine being a warehouse full of dildos. You market that shit right, you'll make a bunch of money. Everyone's got one. Honestly.
Really?
Yes.
Everyone's got one?
I swear. And they all live in the same place. They're some of them are under the bed. like hopefully in a basket or something.
Yeah.
We found them like covered in dog hair.
Oh
Yeah.
God, fuck.
No.
Jesus, sanitize them before they're
you never know.
before they're
in the shower. A lot of people
Okay.
keep them in the shower.
wow.
Not enough, because I find a lot of them like in between the mattresses, like when
Ew.
and it's like, can you tuck it a little further so that when we're putting the fitted sheet on, we're not like
There's not just like head popping out of the damn thing, and you're like.
The bed straps for people are usually still on the beds, like the tie downs or whatever.
Oh wow, I've never seen that in person before.
Yeah, no, a lot. I'm not gonna say a lot, but we've probably half a dozen people stumbled upon, and I'll get a text in the group text like, "These people are freaks," but like in a groovy, funny way,
like
not
these
like
people like sex.
Yeah. So
wow, that's funny.
You can always tell too, like when a couple isn't doing well, like in their relationship when they're not doing well. Because,
how so?
Like in most of the homes, you can tell the split levels, like mom and kids are upstairs, dad's trashed a basement, or like he's got his.
He's been banished to the.
Have you ever heard of a pocket pussy? I'm serious. There's like dad's room in the basement, and his pocket pussy's just sitting out on the fucking table. And I mean, we used condoms everywhere. Yeah. One time we found a used condom, disgusting, behind the toilet, and no big deal. That's normal. We'll glove up, put it in the trash. But the cat.
Oh no.
The cat was hiding behind the toilet, and its tail drugged through the condom.
Oh my God.
And I was like, the girl sent me a picture. I'm like, listen, we're in the business of cleaning houses, but we're not in the business of cleaning cats. So I don't know if we at this point, do I tell the client, like, your cat probably has jizz all over its tail? I mean, we're in their homes. Of course these things happen. It's just the things that we don't shame people over.
No. And how do you bring and stuff like that? Like, how do you bring it to their attention without it, like them feeling some kind of shame? Yeah. You're just like, hey, your cat is running around with a condom on its tail. You need to figure that out. Just letting you know.
We've definitely found things like, especially in minors' rooms. So like if we're finding like alcohol or drugs or, sex toys, if they're over a certain age, we don't really say anything about it because we want them to feel comfortable or whatever. But I think a really great way of saying it is like, okay, are we just cleaning or are we reporting? And then usually they'll be like, report. And so then we'll just send pictures or whatever. And then they can handle it from there. Okay. But now we've had a situation with we call it Condom Cat, where this woman was just newly divorced. And you could tell she was just running through men. And I'm like, good for you. Because her husband ended up being like a complete dirtbag. Okay. And she was just feeling liberated, but we had the issue with the condoms being everywhere all the time. Like we found them like on the living room floor, and like she was just being very liberal about it before we came. Yeah. And so I just said like, hey girl, like I am with you. Like I am so glad you get your freak on, but can we get the condoms up before we get there? And she was like, yeah, of course. Yeah. Like, yeah. As long as it comes from like when you start to make it really professional. Madam, I found a used condom on your living room table, and I just want to let you know the health precautions that we suffer from if we come in contact with that. Like that makes people feel uncomfortable. Yeah, sure. But if I'm like, hey,
dude, there's semen everywhere.
Like, get laid, get your freak on. But like, do you mind like picking that shit up before we get there? They're like, yeah, my bad. It's like less like stuffy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't know. I just, like you said, I'm going to deliver it how I would want to hear it.
Right. Yeah.
Which is not like pathogens and bacteria and like.
Be like, dude, get the vibrator off the couch before we come. You're like, oh, okay.
I mean, that stuff we won't even like. No, if their vibrator's on the couch, we'll just put it on the table so they can have their coffee with it in the morning. Yeah. Just wild.
Very wild.
Yeah.
It's always so funny to think about like what people do in their homes when they're by themselves. Shit like that. Like, what's that dude with the cameras doing when he's by himself?
Well, what I didn't say is that behind that mask, there was a camera. Yeah.
What is he filming?
I don't know. And
what if he's filming like a documentary about himself?
Maybe. But I mean, the girls pee in that bathroom. And so that's when I was like, okay, like, I don't love that. So I just texted him. I said, hey, is there a camera in the guest bathroom? And he said, absolutely not. And I was like, okay, I just want to make sure that the girls have a space where they can use the bathroom in privacy. He was like, just so you know, like that camera in the bathroom isn't even on. Yeah. but like the bedroom ones are and stuff. And so it's really, I think he maybe had military background.
Yeah.
Right. When you're like so on guard like that, or he has a really crazy ex. Like,
or he just, maybe he films porn.
Who knows?
He's got a neon whip.
Like a live OnlyFans or
that's
kind
of sick.
Yeah.
Good for him.
But here's the thing is in those years, that whip never moved. It never changed direction. It was always hung
what
up
if it
there
was
at the
just
same
there
time.
for like shits and giggles?
Yeah,
like you invite someone to your
factor.
house and then they go to the bathroom for the first time. They shut the door behind them and then there's just this whip.
Yeah. So how do you expect like if hearing about this client, like how would you expect his house to look?
Camera guy?
Yeah.
I would expect it to be very clean.
It was
very clean, like very meticulous.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
Like, right. And there were like bed clips on the fitted sheets.
Wow.
Like he was just very
order.
Yes. And
maybe
so
military.
That usually leads me to think like, it's a military background. You can usually go into someone's home, never talk to them and figure out like
who they are,
what side of the sink they use, what side of the bed they sleep in, like where they graduated school, what they do with their day to day, what their favorite foods are. I mean, you can learn everything about someone just by going in their house.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a wild ride. You should come with us one day.
I'd be so fun. That'd be so fun. I'd love to.
Yeah,
like bring me to a wild fucking place.
The best part is we do a lot of estates.
Really?
Yeah, we're in Milton a lot, Roswell, Alpharetta, and like people put some cool shit in their houses.
Yeah, I'd love to come along and just like
if
fucking
I ever
watch y'all.
House, yeah. No, you don't get to just come and watch. Like you get to clean. Come on.
Can I?
You to work.
You know what I'm really good at doing is do you guys ever do people's laundry for them?
Yeah, all the time.
I love doing laundry.
Yeah.
That's a very hot take as a male in today's society.
Absolutely.
But I do my household's laundry.
Good for you.
For the most part. If I'm sick or something, I mean, she might do it, but I do the laundry. It's one of my favorite parts of the week.
I hate it.
Really?
Like I can't stand it. Okay, great. I'm just gonna dump it at your house. Do you actually do childcare too? Because I'm gonna bring my kids. Just well,
I'm very
weekend.
good. I mentioned earlier, I'm very good with kids. Kids they just trust me.
I mean,
which is very nice.
3 under 5.
That's fine.
It's not. It's not fine at all. I don't know what you're talking
about. Kids are I don't know what it is. Someone asked it last night. They're like, why are the kids always around Logan? Why is he the comfort? Like
pets the same way.
Usually animals
Dogs
find themselves comfortable sitting in front of me or something. I don't know why. I really don't. But like
comfort.
I'll walk into somebody's house and like last night we were at my wife's good friend's baby shower and her little boy, who's probably, I don't know how old, maybe 2.5, he comes up to me and I haven't seen him in probably 6 months. At 2 years old, I mean, 6 months is a long time.
Yeah, they probably didn't remember.
Probably not. But as soon as I walk in the front door, he comes up to me and grabs my hand and starts pulling me to take me to show me something.
Yeah.
And I was like, this kid trusts me so much. And I haven't seen him in 6 months.
Yeah, I think that
all
there's
kids
an
are
energy about people where like pets and babies or children, they can tell like who's safe and who's not.
Right. Like if a kid, like if you go to give a kid to somebody and the kid's like, trust your kid.
You know what's crazy is like I kind of do that with my staff because like we work out of my house still. So all of the team, they see my kids every day, and I've had 2 babies in the last couple of years. So like I'll just pass off to one of the new girls and they usually love them. There was one example where Blaze, and he's like my spirit baby. If any of my kids are like me, it's Blaze. Like I said, dumpster fire on wheels. He had a fit. He was like, fuck this bitch, fuck this bitch, fuck this bitch. Like without saying it.
Yeah.
She was fired like the next week. She ended up popping off, having some bad attitude, starting a fight or trying to start a fight with one of the girls in the house. Like to the point to where like, if there's an issue, if I'm coming on site in the middle of the day, like it was bad. And so I like have kind of taken that to heart now where I'm like, listen, like my kids know, all kids know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's
like
so
I
funny.
said, I'm bringing them over.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad out of all of this, I got some childcare.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, we don't just clean houses. We do house sitting. We do pet sitting. Laundry services. Concierge services. So someone who's, you go get groceries or go pick up your laundry or anything like that. So we are a full service moms for moms or dads company.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good to know. So, Liz, there comes a point in every conversation I have with my guests that I ask them a set of questions that are really kind of fun. They're like first date like questions,
great.
but they're not really tied to what you do at all. They're just kind of fun questions. This portion of the podcast is also brought to us by Stage Dive. Stage Dive is a music and podcast streaming platform that aims to put creators first, meaning your subscription will directly benefit the creators that you love. Stage Dive does not play ads among their creators' content. Instead, they provide a subscription-based model where listeners can discover new music, comedy, podcasts, everything in between for a fixed monthly fee. When creators attract a listener's attention, they earn a portion of that listener's monthly subscription. With code YMD25, you'll get 25% off your first month's subscription. Now, the subscription is only $3.99 a month. So that means with my code, you can get your first month of listening for less than half of a cup of coffee from Starbucks. That means you can support your favorite indie artists and indie creators for less than $3 for your first month. www.stagedive.com. What is your favorite movie?
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Very
Matthew
good.
McConaughey.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's the
Perfect.
shit.
Perfect.
Well, Texas, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the Texas in you. Before all of this, before everything that you're doing now, what was your first ever job? The first job you've ever done?
I worked at PacSun. You know what
Nice.
PacSun is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in the mall, Vista Ridge Mall in Louisville, Texas. That was my very first job.
Wow.
And I still like talk to the people.
Really?
Not like a lot, but like we're still active on social and stuff and just check in with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was a fun job.
I love PacSun for a period of time.
I would still shop there.
Yeah, I would too. I'll pop in.
Like their shoes and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, I'll check out what they've got.
We're kind of like East Coast. It's very West Coast.
Yes, it is.
Kind of vibes.
I try to be very, this is such an old person thing to say, hip with like the style that I wear. Like, but sometimes I'll go to a function and people will be like, you dress like a dad. I'm not a dad, but they said that you dress like your dad probably dresses. I'm like, I do dress how my dad dresses.
Yeah. And fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, how rude.
Yeah, for real. Rank these three things in order of your favorite to least favorite. Okay. Queso, guac, and salsa.
Oh, come on. Like, first of all, are we talking about Texas queso, guac, and salsa?
Oh,
or
God.
The shit that
Here
you guys
we go.
serve
the
here?
High and mighty
because
Texas.
Queso is not supposed to be white. Queso is supposed to be like the color of cheese.
Yeah. Like yellow, orange.
Yes. Okay. So guac first, queso second, salsa last.
Okay.
And frankly, if I could just have a bowl, I'll mix them all together and eat it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bet.
What about you? I need to hear your answer.
Probably queso, salsa, guac. I'm not a guac guy. The texture doesn't work.
Oh, I love it. It has to have a lot of lime.
Okay.
Like I don't like that prefab guac that you get in a container. And you have to remember, I have culinary experience.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I know.
Yeah, you know how this
when it's
shit
fresh
works. Yeah.
or whenever it's coming out of a container and you're putting saran wrap on it for a week to keep it from going brown.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the foods I don't like, it's because of the texture. It's never the taste. It's the way that it hits the tongue that I'm not with
Jell-O?
I do like Jell-O.
I hate Jell-O. Texture.
Sometimes to me though, Jell-O has no texture.
The gelatin, I'm like.
This sounds weird, but like I'll just like take a spoonful of it and I'll just like throw it back and just swallow it whole. I don't even like chew it.
Yeah, I think
because it doesn't even need to be chewed. Are you supposed to do that?
I don't know. I mean, like,
it feels weird.
Have you ever done a suck and blow? I doubt you have.
I don't know what that means.
It's a Jell-O shot, but it has a
suck and blow
lid on both sides. So one person blows it and the other person sucks it and just like shoots right.
I was gonna say that sounds so dangerous. What if I'm like a fucking and it just like
that's the point.
Like it go wow,
no, and it literally if they blow, you suck it literally just like.
That's a lot of trust to be that close with somebody.
Just, if you have a Halloween party or something coming up, just get a few.
I'm throwing a Halloween party.
It's hilarious. Or you know what? Your next guest, just make your own without
give him a suck and blow.
They're
like, hey, person I've never met, here's something I like to call a suck and blow.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, let me run to the car real quick. And then they just run. They never come back. Yeah.
It was the wrong guest.
Yeah, true. Facts. Okay. Next time you come back, I'll give you a suck and blow.
Would, yeah.
Okay, sick.
I'm not afraid.
Sweet. If you were on death row What would be your last meal on earth?
Oh God, that one's tough.
It can be from home cooking. It can be from any restaurant ever. You can build your own appetizer, meal, dessert if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know because frankly, I don't think anyone can cook as well as I can. Like I'm
Is that
that
right?
person. I mean, unless you're like a chef, like a good chef, then yeah, I'll eat your food. But a lot of the time, like I want to cook my own food. If I'm craving something, I'm
Mhm.
not gonna give the responsibility to someone else to fulfill that because it's probably not as good as if I do it. But I'm a steak and potatoes gal. Like I'm happy with a ribeye and a baked potato.
Okay.
If I'm going out, honestly, I would be so fucking stressed if I was about to die that I wouldn't want to eat.
Yeah.
Like I'm that person. If I'm stressed, like fuck food. I'm not interested.
Sure.
So, but if I had to, I guess I'd say steak and potato made by myself.
Made by you.
Yeah.
Got you.
Like
Gotcha.
I've even eaten at Hal's, like which is supposed to be the best steakhouse.
I've not eaten there. No. Mid.
Yeah. Mid. Yeah. It didn't suck. It wasn't Outback. It wasn't like Longhorn or whatever, but it was like, damn, I spent how much money on this? And it tastes like Longhorn.
Yeah. So now you're organizing a music festival.
Okay.
And you are picking the 3 headliners. Who are your
Okay.
headliners? We're not talking about like who would you pick for the best attendance or ticket sales. We're essentially
Okay.
planning a
Like
festival
my own
for you.
concert.
Yes. Who are the 3 headliners?
Well, I mean, I'm in pink cowboy boots right now, so you know we're going country.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right now, so I just saw Luke Bryan at SunTrust.
Okay.
And like I needed to do it again.
My mom
Like,
and sister were there.
It was amazing. It was so fun. I really want to see Morgan Wallen, so
I
I'd
would
probably
love to.
throw him in the lineup. And I'm really on this like Shabuzi kick.
Yeah.
Like I like the energy behind it, like it kind of like the Morgan Wallen hip hop thing. I know some people, what do they call it? Like y'alternative or something.
Oh, I've never heard of
like-
that. No.
Oh, you know what? I'd probably choose Hardy.
Yes, let's go.
Morgan Wallen,
We
Hardy,
stand Hardy.
Luke Bryan.
Hardy gets a bad rep.
I don't give a shit.
I love Hardy.
I love him. I like the shit stirs, people throwing chairs off balconies and
Yeah.
the ones who don't care about what's in their
Yeah.
lyrics and they're just doing
Yeah.
what's best for them.
I
But
love
yeah.
country concerts.
Yeah.
They're so much fun. They're so much different than any other kind of
That's
concert.
why I like them.
They're just like, people are just there to have a good time. There might be a fight in the parking lot, but it's all in
Yeah.
good fun.
I mean, I went and took the team. So every summer I do something for the team. And the first year I took them to see Wiz Khalifa. which
Badass.
It was fun. And then the second year, Wiz Khalifa again, but with Snoop Dogg.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that
Even better.
was awesome.
Yeah.
I was 8 months pregnant at a Snoop Dogg.
And you were just fucking
Oh,
lit.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what did we do? Oh, this year I took them to Lips because I couldn't get everyone to agree on one type of music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say like that Snoop show was a really cool because there were like generations of families, like from grandkids to grandparents, parents between, like purple people, yellow people, red people, brown people, whatever. And they were all just lit the fuck up, smoking, enjoying each other. No fighting, no bullshit.
Yeah. Everyone's just vibing.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's killer.
And I guess he canceled his show a couple days ago. So I was like,
Yeah, that's tough.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't tough for us. We got it. We got to see it.
Yeah, that's sick.
Who would you put in your lineup?
That's a good question. I'm a big Posty guy, so I'd throw Post Malone in
October.
there. I'm going to see him.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
A couple of my
Are you
girls
going?
are going. No,
You should
not.
go.
Yeah,
It'll be
thought
fun.
about it.
Country
They
Posty?
want me to go. Oh yeah, I didn't
It's
think
Country
about that.
Posty.
Yeah.
So I'm in on that. I really love, man. That's tough. I'd probably throw someone like Wiz Khalifa in there.
Yeah.
I've always loved Wiz Khalifa. I feel like he was my gateway into hip hop.
Yeah,
I feel like he was that for a lot of people.
sure.
And then, God.
I know it's a tough question.
I listen to a lot of country and maybe Drake or something. I mean, I know that's
Yeah.
a basic answer, but maybe we'll take Wiz out, put Drake in. So we'll do Drake, Post Malone, and I'd love to see Metallica live.
Okay.
That's a very one-off, or Aerosmith. I
Yeah.
love those two, or Queen. Ooh,
Oh,
maybe
Queen
I'll throw
would be
Queen in
cool.
there.
Yeah.
Queen,
That
yeah,
would be
let's do
awesome.
Queen with Freddie Mercury. I'm sure Adam Lambert does a good job singing
Not
for
the
Queen,
same.
but not the same
Yeah.
as Freddie.
It's a
Like, let me
great movie, too.
see. Yes, very good movie. Let's see Freddie at Live Aid
Okay.
back in the day in the prime.
Where would you have it? If you could have it anywhere in the United States?
God, that's a good question. I don't really know.
Okay.
Just here, so I don't have to drive
Oh,
far.
there you go.
Like in my
Keep
backyard,
it simple.
so I
At
don't have
home.
to drive. Because, I'm anal as fuck about parking. And
Yeah.
parking freaks me out.
Especially in this town.
Oh,
like,
God.
Atlanta's
I
the worst.
hate parking. And I hate when you go to a place and it's a venue, but the venue never invests in good parking.
Yeah.
Every brewery you've ever
Like
been to,
Lakewood.
there's never, oh, fuck Lakewood.
Lakewood's
I'm pretty sure that's where Posty's at.
Is it? I know it was indoor.
Oh, no,
at
it's
not Fox Theater,
I
but
think it's Ameris in Alpharetta.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
If it's in Alpharetta, I will definitely go.
I think
But
it's
like going
maybe.
down to the city these days, it's just so exhausting.
Anytime someone last night was like, "Hey, we're gonna do a 5K in Piedmont Park," and I was like, "I don't think so.
I'll do a 5K at Maybury.
I'll do a
Right across the
5K
street.
at Marietta,
Yeah, there we go.
but not doing it.
Yeah,
at
or on the
Piedmont Park.
treadmill at
I'm
the
not-
gym.
What does a day? So picture a day where you have no work. You are free from children.
Okay.
So a self-care day for you. What's that look like?
Well, I'm one of those like gym rat people.
Okay.
So I would go to the gym for sure, and I would like if the gym was outdoors on a mountaintop. Whether that could be achieved or not, probably not. But I think that would be a great start of the day. Just being able to work out outside. Have you ever been to Callaway Gardens?
I have not.
Okay. So it's in Pine Mountain. It's like 2 hours south of us here. And that is typically where I like to run off to. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's like nice accommodations, a decent restaurant at the bottom. And then there's like a lake with like some beachy front, like sand or whatever. And then there's like a golf course. But I mean, it's just hills. It's beautiful. Like the sky is huge. You can see everything. Really just the serenity in those situations. I'm not comfortable relaxing. It's very difficult for me. I went and got a massage not too long ago, and I was sending emails. And she was like, "Do you want to relax?" And I was like, "Absolutely not." I go to the chiropractor and he puts me on this like shock thing. And one time he did it and I went home and I fell asleep for like 10 hours. And he got a strongly worded message later. "Don't ever put me on that fucking thing again because it made me go to sleep." And I looked up like these studies and stuff. And sure enough, like it triggers some chemical in your body to like heal you, which makes you go to sleep. So I don't typically like to do those things. Like I'll sleep when I'm dead isn't something I joke about. Like I really mean that. I enjoy life and I enjoy work and I enjoy people. So like when you take all of that away from me, I'm in discomfort.
I agree.
Yeah. And whether that's healthy or not, you're going to have two people on different sides of the fence arguing. But I think if anything, there's probably a happy medium to that. Like a full day of relaxation isn't relaxing to me, but like a couple hours is probably a better way to start. And I start every day with 2 hours focused on me, whether that's like stretching or lifting weights or going on a walk or jumping rope or whatever. And that is good enough for me. That's my time.
I like that.
Yeah.
What does success look like to you?
I don't know. I think it's changed over the years. Like if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I'd say money in the bank. And I think now success looks like my kids being happy and having what they need, not what they want. I think success is ultimately uncomfortable. So if you're comfortable, then you're probably not looking towards greater success. It's really hard to stay fed when you're not hungry. And so I feel like just always having something to achieve and build towards is success. Making sure that, if my kids are healthy, there's happiness and fulfillment. That's success. I don't really think it has anything to do with money, which most people would probably disagree. I think money helps ease the blows.
Sure.
But yeah, just as long as my people that really matter have what they need, I'm doing good in life.
Yeah. I like that. What is a hill that you are willing to die on?
Mental health matters. I couldn't scream it louder.
I was looking at your website earlier and I love that throughout the whole thing, like you are like you said, you're a full service mom and dad, you're cleaning, all the things.
Mhm.
But like, instead of advertising that on the
Yeah.
front header of the website,
Yeah.
it just says mental health matters,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
And it does. And it doesn't just matter during Mental Health Awareness Month. And
Right.
it doesn't just matter for people with schizophrenia. It doesn't just matter with people with depression. But I think what matters the most about it is that, you know, we're offering grace for people in seasons of their life when, like, just because everything external may be in control, it's really easy for your internal to perceive it as totally out of whack. Like, I think, you know, watching the suicide rates go up and the school shootings and just like how the world is falling apart right now is a great indicator of how powerful mental health can be.
Mm-hmm.
And it manifests, the first place it manifests, if it's not in your body, it's in your home.
Mm.
And so someone who's super anxious is going to have one of those homes that's like everything is so tidy and everything has a place. And if it's not there, then I'm pissed. Like, they immediately are like, this is not okay. And then depression is like, everything's out of whack. I don't know where to begin. Like, the rooms are dark, and OCD is like, I can't get past the door without flipping off the door. And there's so many things that manifest in your home that way and manifest in your body that way. And I've just lived my whole life tiptoeing around people with mental health disorders that I really wanted to navigate a new way. And that's just offering grace for those seasons and having the conversations that need to be had to get past them.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very good answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
A couple more. What is your biggest fear?
Oh gosh. I don't know. Probably my kids hating me or like resenting me for putting in the work that I'm putting in right now. Not hating me, but I think in this season of their life, and there's a lot of things I didn't realize until I became a parent. Like, a lot of the sacrifices that my adopted parents made when I was a child, I saw them as just not caring about me, when really, like, the only thing that they were doing was trying to protect the well-being of our family because there were 6 kids. So yeah, I would just hope that through all of my hard work and absence and, you know, having to be the disciplinarian as well, being absent and the disciplinarian is quite a cross to bear. That they will understand and have grace for the absence that I have to have in building a business. But I mean, like, fear of, like, not scared of heights. Like, I'm not scared to die. I'm not scared of people, or, you know, like, I don't know. When you've faced all of those things at such a young age, it really makes your adulthood a lot easier.
That's good.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing I would change.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to have lived a different life, because I can imagine that my life now, building a business.
Yeah. It would not be where it's at.
No, absolutely not. I would have crumbled 6 months in, because the shit's hard. Like, and there's no other way to put it to people. You see on social media successful people and they're like, it's hard. It takes everything you have. It does. Like, and there's no other way to put it. And you just don't get it until you get there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not a very fearful person. I guess another fear would be like, I don't want my mental health to end up spiraling, and like, so just staying on top of those things. Yeah.
Another
What's
good
yours?
answer. My biggest fear? Well, one of them is the deep blue sea.
Okay, I don't like the ocean either.
I'm more just terrified of the unknown.
Same.
And it's like those videos on TikTok where it's like fear test. And it's like, yo, like the sound is like, and it's just like a video of like a diver and he's just swimming and the camera looks around and it's just deep blue in all directions. Terrifies me.
Yeah, no, I would never. That would also scare the shit out of me.
I would never
just
do that.
Never put myself in a situation to be there.
Yeah, someone was like, would you like go deep sea diving with me? And I was like, absolutely not.
I'm with you on that. 100%.
My last guest told me, and whenever hers airs, she spoke into existence that I'm going to take donations from people. And if I hit, I think it was $200,000, I will willingly go swim with sharks, like in a caged environment or a very safe environment. But I will face my fear. Oh, I said I'd go and do it at the aquarium in Atlanta and get in the shark tank and swim with sharks with one of the professional divers. I said, I will do it for $200,000 and I'll take a chunk of it
Yeah.
and pay for whatever that's going to take. And then I'll take the other chunk of it and donate it to a local charity or
Oh,
something.
that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like it's not scary when you're in a cage.
Well, yeah. So
Because
that
it
means I'd
takes
have
away
to,
the risk.
yeah, I'd have to be
You'd have
free
to be
diving
cageless.
with, and in the aquarium, I'll do that. I'll be cageless in the aquarium.
Yeah.
But if someone was like, let's go to South Africa and deep sea dive with great white sharks, there's going to be a metal box around me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll do it for some amount of money. And then I'll donate $50,000 to a local charity or something.
Yeah, it's a big fat bucket now.
Yeah.
Not the ocean.
No, not the ocean.
I'm with you on that.
But then the other one is just not being successful, or or all of this going nowhere
And having it for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've always told people if the podcast never takes off and if I never make money from it, which I thankfully now am getting to that point where local businesses want to spotlight their businesses.
Sure.
So they'll pay me to talk about their businesses, which is a great place because I love helping small business and being in that community. But even if I never made money from it, I do it till the day I die.
Well, that, and like, you never know what ends, so something else can begin. And
Correct.
You have made so many connections
Yeah.
that I can't imagine that, say something happened with the podcast, that you wouldn't have 500 people to call and be like, hey, like, what kind of opportunities can we start together?
Yeah. Oh, I think about that. It's probably the entrepreneur brain of
Yeah.
like, every time I sit across from someone, I'm like, this whole time as you're like sitting there talking, I'm like, what could I do to help her? What could I do to help?
yeah.
What could I do to
Yeah.
help? How could I add any kind of value? But yeah, just
But that's not
being
a curse.
successful.
That is like the mark of a good entrepreneur. And like that, I will 100% say that the reason that my business is successful is because I've never done it in the best interest of like my business being big. I've always done it in the best interest of the people in the business.
Yeah.
And
I feel like when I was focusing on the business being big is when nothing was happening.
Exactly.
But now that I've like
100%.
started like, oh yeah, like I'm going to start doing more community stuff. Like I was never punching myself into like Cherokee Connect or like anything like I was never doing any of that shit. But this minute I started focusing more on other people, less than myself, things just happen.
Yeah. Tenfold.
Which is just crazy.
It's really cool to watch.
And then lastly, where do you see yourself, the business and everything you're doing in 10 years?
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. 10 years from now, I don't know. I can see myself. I can't see that far. I can't.
Your 2-year-old will be 12.
I know. Oh my God, I will have a full-blown teenage girl.
You will have a teenage girl. You'll be dealing with all of that shit.
No way in hell. You know, if anything, what I can wish for 10 years from now is to get my time back. Just a little more time to really, like, the reason that I work so hard after I had my last bash, I was back to work 2 weeks postpartum, and there were days where I would come home. I would leave before he woke up, and I would get home after he was asleep. So there was like a week where I didn't even get to hold him because I was just going. I was networking in the morning, then cleaning in the night, and networking in the morning and cleaning the night almost every day of the week. And I just would hope in 10 years that all of these hours that I've put into it every single day have just afforded me a little more luxury to take my kids on a vacation. Yeah. And I mean like the very simple things. I'm not trying to like go to Spain or to Bermuda or whatever, but like just to go
to PCB, go to the beach.
Lodge, you know, and really spend time with them and for them to feel like they have someone in their life who is consistent and predictable and always going to show up for the things that are important. That's what I can see in 10 years. In 10 years, I mean, I didn't see the business being where it is now 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm just incapable of processing that kind of growth or maybe even ultimate demise. Mm-hmm. But whatever it is, it's always in the best interest of my kids. Mm-hmm. And I would hope that I'm doing this for the right reasons, and that's to serve them. Yeah.
Good answers. Well, if your kids don't know it yet, you're a rock star.
Oh, thank you.
And
they'll learn.
They will learn. They will learn.
My daughter worships me, and
that's good.
Yeah, that's the best gift I could ever ask for. My boys, they just beat the shit out of me, but they're little, so one day they'll worship me too.
Yeah, they'll worship you.
Yeah.
So now I will let you look to the mic, look to the camera, and sit here and plug yourself, plug the business, tell people where they can find your business, where they can find the services, and everything you do. Just advertise away.
Okay. Well, I'm not very good at that, but My name is Liz Milam, and I own the Meticulous Maid. We are Atlanta's and Georgia's best cleaning service. We offer what we believe are family solutions. So anywhere from organizing, tidying, concierge services, home sitting, laundry, etc. You can find us at www.themeticulousmaid.com, and our social media handle is the Meticulous Maid ATL.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Look at that. Thank you so much for doing this with me. This was so fun.
It was fun.
You're an absolute rock star.
Thank you. You're a rock star too. We could make a band.
Okay.
I can't sing.
No, I can't
or
either.
play anything.
I can't either.
But
I like to think
fun.
I can sing, but when I turn the music down and see how I really sound, I'm like, oh.
Oh, are you a karaokeer?
Oh, God. I'm screaming in the car, just belting my heart out.
Well, then that's our next thing.
Okay.
We'll go to
that's
karaoke
fine.
instead.
That's fine.
Okay.
I will be sure to put her website in the link in the description so that it's easy to find for you if you are interested in any of the things that Liz just mentioned. Again, like I said at the top, if you could just share this with one person in your life that needs this show. There's a lot of good value in here, a lot of good entrepreneurship, and a lot of uplifting, a lot of getting through the shit in this episode. So if you know someone that needs to hear something like this, send this to them. And again, follow on social media, subscribe on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. And, if you like what you hear, leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. It really helps a lot, gives me feedback. It tells me how to grow, how to change, what to fix, what to not fix. And I just appreciate it tremendously. Thanks so much, everybody. And we will see you next time. Bye.